54 here. Tonight, it's the 86th Capital One Orange Bowl from Hard Rock Stadium here in Miami Gardens, Florida. 9th ranked, the Gators of Florida, and the Hoos of Virginia ranked 24th in the country. You know, these New Year's Six bowl games come with some perks. This week has been fun on the Florida shores. Some time with some beach, some time with a few stone crabs. A good time had by all for both Florida and Virginia. But now it's time to make it a business trip. Time for football. Both teams are hyped for this one, and we are ready to go as well. 76 degrees here in South Florida. And as always, Grease, as you know, a slight chance of showers. With Brian Greasy, I'm Steve Levy. Welcome everyone to the Booking.com kickoff. Well, all of a sudden, Bronco Mendenhall said he's hearing the whispers that Virginia might be a football school. That is new. This is all new for them. First Orange Bowl, first New Year's Six Bowl as well. And then there's Florida. They're used to the bright lights, the big stage. Back in their third game of the season, however, fourth quarter at Kentucky, down by 11, and that's when Felipe Franks goes down. The unknown, unheralded, untested Kyle Trask all of a sudden had to rescue them and save the season.
There's no question that Felipe Franks was the emotional leader of this team, and Kyle Trask was the unknown. You have to remember, we all have to remember and remind ourselves, he never started in high school. 4 years. Comes to Florida, doesn't start for 3 years. 7 years this young man has waited for his opportunity. It finally came against Kentucky, and he has taken the opportunity and run with it. I can't tell you how hard it is. As a backup quarterback, I have this experience. You prepare every week to be the starter, to go out there and take the test, and then you get to the game and you don't get a chance to take the test. He's taken it 8 times this season. He's passed it 6 times. He's only lost to LSU and Georgia, and now an opportunity on a big stage to play in the Orange Bowl.
You weren't a backup too often, pal. Amazing. Kyle Trask, he was 14 the last time he made a start prior to this season. As for Virginia, different story. You're always telling me football, the ultimate team sport, but Todd McShay, they got a bit of a one-man show going on with Bryce Perkins.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Bryce Perkins, you're in for a treat tonight. This guy is a one-man show. You look at what he's done, 78% of this offense runs through him. It's remarkable. It's the second most of any player in the country, and to me, he's the most important quarterback to his team that there is in college football. The reason why, they don't have great wide receivers. They don't have a great running game, Virginia. They don't have a great offensive line, but he seems to make up for all of it. Tonight, 14.4 points per game allowed by the Florida defense. It's an enormous challenge. We're going to have a lot of fun, though, because Perkins is such a gamer and such a battler.
Will be exciting to watch him. Virginia out of the ACC finally got a Coastal Division championship. And then the Florida Gators. Back-to-back New Year's Six bowl games. And there's no question about it. Both teams wear blue and orange. They'll both be in their home uniforms tonight, which is rather different. But I think this is going to feel and sound an awful lot like the Swamp in Gainesville. Look at Coach Mullen getting the people fired up, his people. Earlier, Molly McGrath asked Bronco Mendenhall what a Virginia win in the Orange Bowl here tonight would mean to his program. And it's brought to you by Booking.com.
We like the idea of what if. What if the University of Virginia, with all of the unique academic accomplishments we have, can also play football on this stage and do it consistently? That would be a magical place.
Virginia's Cavaliers in search of their second 10-win season ever. The Cavs out of the ACC. The Gators out of the SEC. Monday Night Football college style. Next. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, recognizing those who strive to rise above the rest. Goodyear, more driven. Just about set to go. Virginia and Florida. How motivated will the Gators be tonight? The College Football Bowl Association recently announced the top 150 players and 25 coaches in bowl history. That's Virginia's honorary captain, Chris Long. He's on the list. As you would expect, Florida's honorary captain is Steve Spurrier. He's on the list as both a player and coach. Actually, I'm not sure you knew this, Grease. Both Long and Spurrier each received at least one Heisman vote. Spurrier won it, but Long got one vote. For the Big 12 now, referee Reggie Smith. He's got the coin toss. Reg, it's all yours.
Gentlemen, congratulations on your selection to the 2019 Capital One Orange Bowl. I'm Reggie Smith, and this is Marlo Fitzgerald, and it's our pleasure to represent the Big 12 Conference on the field. Tonight's game will feature the Florida Gators versus the Virginia Cavaliers. Florida, you've been designated as the visiting team. This is tonight's coin. The Capital One Orange Bowl logo shall be heads, and the bowl of oranges shall be tails. Tails, heads. Florida, you are the visitors. It is your toss to call. What do you choose?
Tails.
He is called tails. Tails is the call. And now to toss the coin. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the Orange Bowl Committee President, Mr. Jose Romano, who will toss the coin. Again, the call is tails. Stand right here. And let it fall. It's heads. You've won the toss. Virginia has won the toss. They've deferred to the second half. You're going to receive. Which way are you kicking? Face that way. Put your backs to that goal. For the first half, Florida will receive. Shake hands. Bring them out.
How about that? Florida is the visiting team here against Virginia. And a bit of a USC-UCLA feel.
I love it.
With both teams wearing the colored jerseys. Down to the field, here's Molly McGrath, the coach.
Thank you so much, Steve. Coach, this feels like a home game for you guys. What was your message to your team ahead of this one?
Well, you know what? We've worked hard. This is our last game together as a team. You know, this team was born just under a year ago, and we've worked hard through off-season, summer, all season long to be here on a big stage and a big moment. Enjoy the night and go finish it the right way.
78% of Virginia's offense runs through Bryce Perkins. What do you need to do against him defensively?
We just got to try to contain him. You know, I mean, we got to get 11 eyes on him, get him on the ground, whether it's in the run game, pass game, or him scrambling extended plays. We got to have a lot of attention on him.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, Molly, just about set to go. Now, Florida has not played for a full month. Back on November 30th, they blew out Florida State 40-17. Of course, Virginia played 3 weeks ago. They got blown out in the ACC championship game 62-17 against Clemson.
What a job Dan Mullen has done in 2 short years here at the University of Florida. 3 years ago, this team was 4-7, and now there's a buzz. They are brimming with confidence. Even going back to the Urban Meyer days, it hasn't been the same. And now Dan Mullen has brought this program back to the brink of the playoffs.
As for Coach Mendenhall in his 4th season, his first season there, they were a 2-win team. This would have been thought as a bit far-fetched to play in the Orange Bowl and a New Year's Six Bowl. But here we go on a Monday night from South FLA. Brian Delaney kicks it in the air. And it will bounce out of the end zone. And for the touchback, and they'll bring it out. to the 25-yard line. Again, led by Kyle Trask. He is now 21 years old. He had not made a football start since he was 14 years old prior to this season on the JV high school team.
And not only that, but he has been the focal point of this offense. They have not been able to run the ball with any kind of consistency. The weight has been on Kyle Trask's shoulders, and it will be again tonight.
First down and 10 from the 25, and here we go. Off the play fake, Trask comes out throwing. The ball is tipped in the air, batted around, and hits off the turf. Joey Blunt, the free safety, able to deflect the pass.
Wow. 3 Wahoo defenders get a hand on this ball. Grant first. And then it looks like it hits Jackson, and then Zandier, the linebacker, 33, just about 6 inches away from making a game-changing play on the first snap.
Second down and 10. Virginia knows they need to steal a possession or two. Here's the blitz. Trask able to get rid of it and complete to Kyle Pitts. He's got the first down. Chick-fil-A impact players. Here's Todd McShay.
So on the first attempt of the game, Kyle Trask going to his go-to receiver, Van Jefferson, number 12. Big receiver, possession guy, 43 catches on the year. He's one of 7 pass catchers with 20-plus receptions. On the defensive side, Eli Handback, steady, durable, consistent play.
They do try to go to the ground game, and there it is. LaMichael Pirine breaking away down the left sideline. They do have a running game. 40 seconds in. Touchdown, Florida. 61 yards for LaMichael Pirine.
Cannot imagine how good this feels for LaMichael Pirine and for Dan Mullen, but most importantly, that offensive line up front. All year, everybody's been talking about how this team can't run the football. They're averaging over 100 yards less in rushing this year than a year ago. That's been their Achilles heel, and they come out right off the bat and establish a line of scrimmage.
Here's Evan McPherson for the extra point. Pirine busted one for 88 earlier this season against Auburn. That was the longest run since Emmitt Smith ran for 96 yards against Mississippi State in 1988.
I want you to watch Devontae cross the corner. He's the one who's going to fall down on the play. It's his responsibility. That is his gap. And he falls down, and that's what allows Pirine to get to the second level. Devontae Cross has played all kind of positions on this defense. He's been a safety, he's been a corner and a nickel. They start him in this game ahead of Heskin Smith, and he falls down and gives up a big play.
I mean, that in essence, Grease, for Florida is a trick play, because all they do is pass the football. You're not expecting them to run there, even though they have the talented Pirine, and he rips one off for 61. What a start for the Gators.
Well, their struggles running the football have not been on LaMichael Pirine. He is a talented back. They just have an inexperienced offensive line, and if they can get that going after a month of practicing in the bowl practice, they might have something going.
Watch for Joe Reed. Even that was a little too deep for him to bring out of the end zone. The special team star for Virginia. That Bryce Perkins even here tonight, starting a New Year's Six bowl game, is simply remarkable. Spent 2 years at Arizona State, never starting. Had to transfer after breaking his neck in practice, recovered. In 2017, led Arizona Western Community College to the JUCO championship game, transferred to Virginia, and over the last 2 seasons, he's won 17 games. Only 17 games, and yet that is tied for second most in Virginia football history. Sean Moore is the all-time leader in victories with 25 for the Hoos. Perkins comes out throwing on first down, and he's able to complete to Assis Dubois. Jawan Taylor makes the stop after the gain of 3.
You know, this week, Bryce Perkins said this would be a legacy game for him. And I love the way that Bronco Mendenhall responded to that, saying that Bryce Perkins has already cemented his legacy at the University of Virginia. This would just be icing on the cake.
The seniors on Virginia will leave this program much, much better off than when they first appeared on the scene. Second down and 7. on the ground to Wayne Talapapa. He'll be real close to the first down. Back to Todd and more Chick-fil-A impact players.
Steve, you mentioned Joe Reed in the kick return game, 5 career touchdowns. He also is just the go-to guy. Now, he's coming back from injury, as is defensive end Jabari Zuniga, who's only played around 60 snaps all season. Some defensive players play that in a game, but he had 7 tackles for loss and 3 sacks in those 60 snaps, so it tells you how explosive he is. He's back healthy.
3rd down and 1. Perkins will keep it, try to get to the first down, and I don't think he got there. No gain on the play. David Reese made sure of that in the middle.
Yeah, David Reese is that quarterback of the defense, right in the middle. Nice job by that defensive line. Todd mentioned Zuniga getting penetration, and already a decision for Bronco Mendenhall, who looks like he's going to huddle and maybe go for it here, but he could do anything here. Punt, fake. He told us everything's on the table.
Nash Griffin is back to punt. Freddie Swain is back deep to receive for Florida at about his own 30. And there are zeros on the play clock. Didn't get it away. See if they got a
5-yard
timeout.
penalty.
Nope.
4th down.
Delay a game. Reggie Smith is our referee, and the officials today are from the Big 12.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on that all game. You know, Broncos, he's got nothing to lose in this game. Something was up there. They came out and they huddled. They had a different look, a different set, and then you have a delay a game. Typically, that happens when you're trying to do too much.
4th down and 6 now. Griffin gets the snap. Left-footed punter in the air. Pretty good punt, takes a big-time bounce and gently rolls into the end zone. That'll go as a 70-yard punt for Nash Griffin. Florida got off to a big start. And of course, so predictable, it would be the running game. Gators back on offense when we come back. Florida needed all of 3 plays and 40 seconds to score a touchdown, and this will be a big part of that because Virginia is without their best defender in Jordan Mack, had ankle surgery last week, and their top corner is Bryce Hall. He was lost to an ankle injury himself on this very field during the regular season when the Hoos came here to play Miami. Freddie Swain off a little pitch, and he is knocked down by Noah Taylor for no gain.
Well, Virginia, obviously you mentioned Mack in the linebacker spot, and Bryce Hall, he's really a legitimate first-round talent at the cornerback position. This defensive secondary for Virginia is so beat up over the course of the season. They're going to have to really out-scheme Florida in order to have a chance to hold on.
2nd down and 11, give him a loss on the last play. Here's Trask to throw, lofts one, and it is intercepted. Picked off. Nick Grant comes up with it for Virginia. Just what the Hoos needed, stealing a possession, and they do it early on Trask.
One of Kyle Trask's biggest strengths is anticipation, but watch how this strength becomes an error. He tries to anticipate this throw, and he tries to put it out there in front of him, but Nick Grant has his eyes in the backfield, reading the quarterback. That is route recognition from Grant, and then getting over there and making that play off a deflected ball by Swain. Unbelievable play by Grant.
Trask was rushed by Richard Burney, who provided the pressure, forced him to release the ball a little too early, and leads to the interception. So here's Virginia now, taking over an excellent field position. That's Joe Reed in motion. Perkins has time, takes a shot, end zone, caught, touchdown, Terrell Jana. And just like that, we're off to the races. Virginia an extra point away from tying things up.
You got to give credit to Bronco Mendenhall, Robert and I, knowing how momentum affects big games like this. You get a big interception Why not take a shot from the red zone fringe? You get one-on-one coverage with Jana, who has made play after play in the second half of this season. That's his 68th catch on the year and 3rd touchdown, and it's his biggest of the year.
Here's Brian Delaney. Boots it through. Jana was working on Trey Dean. And while we spoke of those who are missing for the Virginia defense, no C.J. Henderson at corner for Florida either, and that'll have an impact.
What a great start for both teams, right? Both offenses and quarterbacks in rhythm. All off that guy right there, Nick Grant.
2 touchdowns in 3.5 minutes. Perfect.
Capital One Orange Bowl, brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? AT&T. Taco Bell's $1 double stacked tacos. And Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
2 weeks from tonight, college football comes down to one last game, and what a game it's going to be. Joe Burrow leads LSU against Trevor Lawrence and Clemson. The College Football National Playoff Championship game, Monday, January 13th, right here on ESPN. And of course, it's in New Orleans. That will be spectacular.
I guarantee you, Dabo Swinney and Brent Venables are watching that Florida tape when they played LSU. They played them tough into the 4th quarter.
That's a great point. So here we go. 5th possession already. We played 3.5 minutes of football. Florida's scoring drive was 40 seconds, Greece. Virginia's scoring drive was 7 seconds. The sudden change, the quick change, go up top. You see it all the time, and it works so far for Virginia.
Especially see it in bowl games, because teams have a month to practice and prep. They'll try different things. Guys get back healthy, and you have new weapons, and there's just a lot of new things. So you got to weather the storm defensively in the 1st quarter of these bowl games.
For Kyle Trask, his 7th interception thrown of the season against 24 touchdown passes. We'll see how he responds now. Florida football in a 7-all game. Back to the ground game. It's Pirine. He's pushed back for no gain. Nick Jackson in the middle. Jackson will get a lot of the work in place of Jordan Mack, who we told you. The upside for Virginia missing Mack is they've been kind of used to it, Grease. He's really only been about 60% Mack. The previous 3 games, they've been getting some other people some reps there.
Yeah, but it's the leadership, right? Just him being out there making the calls. That's what they're going to miss most.
2nd and 10, screen to Pirine. Makes a few people miss. And again, it's Nick Jackson, the freshman from Atlanta, showing off early. Gain of 1 on the play, and it'll be 3rd and long.
This Virginia defense, they don't have one player that just jumps out at you. That was Bryce Hall, and he's hurt. But they're solid. They play fundamental defense. Hand back and Juwan Briggs on the inside at the defensive tackle positions. And then they have 2 really versatile players on the edge in Charles Snowden and Noah Taylor that are long and get into throwing windows.
Here's Trask on 3rd and 9, set up the screen to Pirine's got some running room, has the 1st down and more. Out the 46-yard line before Josh Ahern brought him down. It's a gain of 20 on the play.
This is where you're going to see some of the youth of Nick Jackson. Here he is right here. Watch him. You just got to come up and fire at Pirine. He waits back, and that allows the offensive lineman to get on him and allows Pirine to get another 10 yards.
So Zane Zandier also there, bringing him down. One of the leading tacklers on this Virginia defense. Fresh set of downs approaching midfield. Here's Trask to throw, and able to get that one out. Trayvon Grimes working on Noah Taylor for a gain of 7.
This is the point I'm trying to make with Snowden, who's 6'5". Oh, this is Noah Taylor, in the slot at 6'5". Watch him get underneath this throw. That's a tough throw for Kyle Trask. If he misses at all, that ball's intercepted and returned back for a touchdown. That's something Virginia wants to do defensively.
Damian Pierce is checked in at running back. Give Pirine a breather on 2nd and 3. Just across midfield. Trask to throw, put some air underneath it, and nearly a juggling, spectacular catch by Grimes. It falls incomplete.
And again, Noah Taylor out there, and I think he affects Kyle Trask, knowing that He's out there and he has to manage him with that throw. He throws it a little bit high and safe to the outside to Grimes.
Pass defense is interesting for Virginia. They actually told us they physically cannot play a dime defense. They are not capable. They don't have enough healthy bodies. Even playing a nickel is a bit of a stretch for the secondary for Virginia with who they've got injured. 3rd down and 3. Gonna run for it. It's Pierce, and he's got first down yardage. Got the necessary 4 before Charles Snowden brought him down.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I think the Florida Gators have struggled running the ball this year is because Kyle Pitts, while a very dynamic receiving tight end, he's not the strongest at the point of attack. But on that last play, Pitts came down. He had a single block on the defensive end, did a nice job of sealing it, and they ran right behind him. If he can add that to the repertoire, watch out.
Trask got some pressure. And Van Jefferson couldn't hang on. Would have been out of bounds anyway, likely. The Virginia secondary that we speak of, at one point they had 7 defensive backs injured. 6 of them never returned. Only Heskin Smith came in. Now Emory Jones has checked in for Florida now for the 8th play of the drive coming up.
Yeah, and you'll see him play at least 10 or 12 or 15 snaps in the game. This is a normal mode of operation for Dan Mullen throughout the year.
And here is Jones doing exactly what he does, taking off and rushing the football through everyone for a gain of 17. Everyone in the stadium knows what's coming.
Well, and watch the end of this run. Emory Jones, he's not just a quarterback. This is a physical runner running over Moore, that safety position. We asked Dan Mullen how his teammates respond to Emory Jones, and he said that run right there, that physical, tough, grit nature has endeared him to this entire team.
Jones will hustle off. Trask will come on. See, 8 on the play clock. Virginia's slow getting players off the field as well. Still 4 to snap it. Trask has no problem there. Pocket is clean. Time for a cup of coffee and then some. Able to complete to Tyree Cleveland for a pick of a 6. All sorts of time.
Yeah, Virginia decided just to rush 3 there. A nice job by Kyle Trask, recognizing that they only rushed 3. He had 5 blockers, so he didn't have to rush it. Take your time and let the play develop.
And all season long, they've averaged 77% of the time Virginia has in terms of getting pressure on 1st and 2nd down. 3rd down's 96% of the time, but they just, with all the injuries in the secondary, they know they've got to back off today.
10th play of the drive upcoming. That's Hammond in motion. On the ground of Damian Pierce. There was nothing there. Second effort, able to burst through the hole and get the first down, gain of 5. And there's an injured player.
Yeah, and that's Noah Taylor, who we were just talking about. His unique size and length, dropping underneath some of these underneath routes. If they lose him on top of all the other injuries, I'm not sure what they would do.
The regular season of the Capital One Orange Bowl by creating the Live Ma student section. Today, they're picking up the tab for students from each school so that these passionate fans can cheer on their teams. Excellent support for both schools, though it's hard to tell. There's a lot of blue and orange. Both colors, both schools. First down and 10. Trask to throw for it off the fingertips of Kyle Pitts. Couldn't haul it in.
Well, they had it. Pitts had a step. He was locked up on the safety, Chris Moore. He is right there, and if that ball's thrown just a little bit more into the body, that would have been a touchdown. Give Moore credit. He hasn't played a whole lot recently, missed the last 2 games. Violation of team rules, and now he's back for the bowl game, and they needed him with all those injuries in the secondary.
Second down and 10. Trask 4-7 for 33 yards this drive. Drive that started from their own 25. Trask on the run to the corner of the end zone and out of bounds clearly was Freddie Swain. Trask, we were told he's a willing participant in the running game. Not necessarily effective or great at running the football, but he is willing to take off if he has to.
Yeah, and taking off and running in the red zone is especially helpful to the offense and Dan Mullen, because you avoid 3rd and 10 situations like this. If he just goes and gets 5, it's a much different situation.
3rd down and 10, and Virginia wants to talk it over.
Virginia calls their first timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
So it's a quick timeout. So a 3rd and 10 upcoming here, and a chance to strike back.
Yeah, in these situations, Dan Mullen, 3rd and 10 in the red zone is a very difficult down. You want to be careful with the football. He loves to throw slip screens. Trevon Grimes has made a living as a big receiver. They like to get Kyle Pitts out in front of him, but I would anticipate something of that nature from Dan Mullen's playbook.
I think the nerves are a factor for Trask here. Got off to the slow start, the interception, the big bowl game here tonight.
I don't think so. I think this is a Virginia defense that's a little bit unique. They bring a lot of different pressures. You're going to get some different looks from Bronco Mendenhall. It's a smart group, and they've got length. So it makes you uncomfortable as a quarterback trying to throw underneath routes against guys that are really tall.
Hey, Trask has some big game experience. He took these guys to Baton Rouge, and they were beating LSU in the 3rd quarter.
There's Grimes down here.
Some pressure for Virginia. Trask able to unload and complete. The P-Rod out of the backfield and into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida. P-Rod 2nd.
Well, Michael Pirine came into this game with 35 catches on the season. That's 3rd on the team, only behind Pitts and Van Jefferson, and he is a dynamic route runner, and when he gets the football in the open field, very difficult to get on the ground. That's the 2nd missed tackle for Devontae Cross in this ball game, and both of them have been on the Michael Pirine, and both have gone for touchdowns.
Here's McPherson on for the extra point, missed just 1 during the regular season. He's got that one as well. The Michael Pirine is a young man who paid his own bus fare to visit a Florida camp back in 2014. I'd say it's paying off for the Gators. 14-7 Florida. You're watching the Capital One Orange Bowl. Back in South Florida, a typically gorgeous Monday night. Just the 2nd meeting ever between Florida and Virginia. The Gators won that matchup 55-10 in 1959. See if Joe Reed gets a chance to show off some of his skills. He's the best kick returner in college football. And here he comes, and he'll take a big hit out at the 12-yard line. Go down to the field, check those conditions. Here's Molly.
Yeah, Steve, the rain is holding up, but it is very humid down here on the field. Virginia wide receiver Hassis Dubois, after their first drive, came off to the sideline and changed his cleats, opting for longer spikes. So the field is a little bit slick because of that humidity, and that paired with all of Florida's fans, it definitely feels like the swamp down here, Steve.
And yet officially they are the visiting team here tonight. 6:21 left. It's been a fun first quarter. See how Virginia can answer back. Some pressure on Perkins, flat-footed throws and completes anyway to Hassis Dubois. His 2nd grab, that's good for 16 yards.
Everybody talks about Bryce Perkins. The first thing they talk about is how good of an athlete he is and getting out and running, and the run game kind of goes through him. I think he is underrated as a pocket passer. That time there was tremendous pressure right in front of him. He doesn't flinch, throws a layered throw on the 2nd level for a first down.
He'll hand it off to Joe Reed. The receiver takes the handoff in the backfield coming around. He'll pick up 8.
And going back to that throw, Brian, you're talking about Darrell Slayton, who got the pressure, 6'5", 358 pounds, bearing down on him, and he didn't flinch at all.
Yeah, you mentioned Slayton. I think he has been a revelation in the second half of the year for Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator for Florida. He's come on, he's, as you mentioned, a big man, and he's difficult to block. They said he was one of the last players to really buy into this Florida system under Dan Mullen in the second year. And now that he's bought in, he is a force.
See Brad Stewart down for Florida. Junior out of New Orleans. He's pointing to his left shoulder. The Gator defense, speaking of, has been impressive. Points per game, 8th best in the country, 12th in rush yards allowed. And then there is that Florida pass rush that got off to an unbelievable start. Week 0 against Miami, they had 10 sacks.
That'll help the stats, yep. Then they had 8 against Florida State at the end of the year. So they bookended the ACC with 18 sacks in 2 games.
46 sacks on the season. 1997 was the last time a Florida team had 50 sacks, a record 53 that year. On second down and short, set up the tight end Tanner Cowley. Kaiir Elam came up to make the stop, gain of 5 on the play, and it's a first down.
That's a great design by Virginia offensively, but it's another great tackle by Kaiir Elam. We mentioned no C.J. Henderson, so the true freshman Elam, who they are really excited about at 6'2", 190 pounds. He's got the frame.
And some finger pointing.
Offside. Defense number 92. Came into the neutral zone, causing an offensive reaction. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Jabari Zuniga, the 5th-year star, was in a very important game for him here tonight, was offside.
Yeah, his coaches felt like, Dan Mullen felt like it's a very important game for him. He's only played about 60 snaps all season. He's battled injuries, had a huge year last year, thought about coming out, but he came back. But now, his last game for Florida, has to put some positive plays on tape.
Perkins to throw on 1st and 5. He's got Dubois. See if they give it to him on the forward progress. Very close to midfield. There's a flag down back at the 39-yard line.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense number 92. It'll be a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's Zuniga again, Grease.
Back-to-back fouls on Zuniga. He's a very talented young man. And you see him right here on Cowley, the tight end. It wasn't initially, it was that second part there where he pushed him back. But Zuniga's going to be a good player, I believe, at the next level. But he just has to stay healthy, and he's got to play within himself. He's very talented. Dan Mullen says, listen, bud, it's a big game for you. We'll take you out, catch your breath, and we'll get you back in there.
Here's Perkins for Joe Reed. Down to the 30, Todd.
And you mentioned Zuniga in the next level. He didn't get a grade that was equivalent to first or second round. And if the NFL Advisory Committee says that, it means go back to school. It's either first round, second round, or go back to school. But he is a special talent. 60 plays you talk about all season long, 7 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. He's a huge difference maker, but he's got to play smart tonight.
Back-to-back fouls on him. Have Virginia in business. Here's Perkins trying to get the edge. Won't get there, won't get back to the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of 1. David Reese saw to that.
Yeah, David Reese is the beneficiary of these big guys up front. When Slayton and Carter, Zuniga are coming off the ball, very hard for offensive lines to get to the second level to get to Reese. And when they don't, he has the recognition and the speed to meet the back in the hole. Dad was a great player, Ike Reese, for Michigan State for a long time. Played in the NFL as well.
There you see Reese getting everyone set on that Florida defense.
Calls their first timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
Did look like there was some confusion there, and that leads to Florida's first timeout. The Gators back-to-back 10-win seasons. That hadn't happened since 08-09. 08 was Dan Mullen's last year as offensive coordinator of the Gators.
National champions.
And the 2 losses, you're going to take 2 losses. You know, how about at LSU, home to Georgia? Nothing to sneeze at there. This is their 2nd consecutive New Year's Six Bowl. First time that's happened is a 4-year run, 2006 through 2009. The decade has not been good for Florida, but they are finishing strong here these last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest bowl game they've gone to the last decade was the 2012 Sugar Bowl. And this is the first, you know, now back-to-back New Year's Six games for Dan Mullen. He has turned this thing in a hurry, and he's turned it in a positive direction. This was, I think, the hire of that season. When they got Dan Mullen, there were some other hires like Mario Cristobal and others who are doing well, but nobody has done better than Dan Mullen, in my opinion. It's a great fit.
Zuniga is back in there on 3rd down and 5. That's Reed in motion. Perkins wants to run for it, and he's lassoed down by Ventrell Miller after a gain of 4. They're going to be about a yard short.
Yeah, no question for Bronco Mendenhall here either. This ball game, you're going for it in this situation.
4th and 1. Talapapa in the backfield. Now they motion him to the left. Here's a Florida pressure. Perkins unloads, able to complete to Dubois for the first down with forward progress, gets him 3. And on 4th down, they go for it and get it.
Now how about this? Everybody thinks Bryce Perkins, you're going to run it with him. You empty the backfield, and you put the success of that play on his arm. It's a perfect read, and nice job by Dubois securing the catch.
I think Florida has to live with that. Todd Grantham said, our goal is to make Perkins play quarterback. He was quarterback there, and it worked out for Virginia. Here's Perkins. Take a shot. Oh, had a man wide open. Had Jana and led him too far.
Wow, Jana got matched up on the linebacker, Amari Burney. And Burney, it looked like he was supposed to carry him. Here's Burney right here. He just lets him go, and he's wide open. Those are the plays you got to make. You made a great play on 4th down to get the first down, and then you get a wide open receiver. You just got to put it on his back shoulder. But that's Perkins' first incompletion of the game.
Under 2 minutes to play in the quarter. Perkins running forward. He's hit hard after a gain of about 2. Amari Burney made the stop. Burney's one of the players responsible for spying that position.
Well, Burney's upset after that last play. He almost gave up a touchdown. He says, hold on, I'm going to make sure I make this tackle. That'll wake you up in the morning.
Collision sport indeed. 11th play of the drive upcoming. 3rd down and 8. Florida pressure. Rolling to his left, Perkins, and throwing and completing. It is Jana on the money that time. And for the first down, they'll move the sticks, gain of 11.
It's a great play call there by Robert and I, the offensive coordinator, anticipating pressure from the great Gator defense. They're all going to come, so a rollout is a great way to combat that kind of pressure. Give you a little bit of space, move the pocket, and run an out route. Well executed there. Good call and good execution.
Kemp and Brissett have checked in, wide receiver for Virginia. From the 11, Perkins throwing, great defensive play. Elam got a hand in front of it to break it up.
You know, when people talk about the future of Florida football and why they're so excited, it's players like this. As a true freshman, Kaiir Elam, you know, C.J. Henderson's out, and he's called upon opposite of Trey Dean, and he's made 3 or 4 big plays already in this first half.
You can't defend that any better. 33 seconds left in the quarter. Here's Perkins setting up the screen out to Billy Kemp, and he'll get a yard down to the 10. We'll see if we get another play here at the end of the quarter.
Bronco Mendenhall between Bryce Perkins and Wayne Tualapapa, those 2 alone have 23 rushing touchdowns. It's been those 2 inside the 10-yard line all season for the Wahoos.
They really want to run this play? Anybody notice the clock at 0? Anybody? The clock was at 0 for about 5 seconds.
The end of the first quarter.
Almost got a freebie there.
Better late than never.
1 quarter complete. The Capital One Orange Bowl. We're off to a big start. Florida the 14-7 lead with Virginia knocking on the door. Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, Molly McGrath. The Capital One Orange Bowl from South Florida as we open up quarter number 2. 14-7 in favor of Florida.
These are the situations, Leaves, where John Grenard, who's the leading sack man in the SEC, on 3rd and long, you got to account for him.
Florida has 12 players on the field. And that was the reason for another timeout. Florida has to spend one there.
Yeah, there was a late substitution. Looked like Jaden Hill, the corner. Yeah, you got 4, 4, and 4. That's 12. 4 times 3 is 12.
Right. The 4-4-4 defense.
Dan Mullen seemed a lot calmer this week. You know, we've done a lot of games with Dan Mullen through the years. From his original time at Florida, then he's at Mississippi State, now back in Florida. This job seems to fit him like a glove. He's comfortable. He knows exactly what this fan base expects. He knows how to build the team from the ground up, and you could just tell he's got something special brewing in Gainesville.
3rd down and 8. Bryce Perkins and company. Looking to tie this game. That's Billy Kemp in motion. Top of your screen. Some extra late pressure for Florida. Perkins has to secure the football, then throws for the end zone. It is caught. It's Dubois for a touchdown. Grabbing it over Marco Wilson. The strength of Dubois' hands to hang on to that and stay in. 9 yards for the score, or an extra point away from a tie game.
Wow, you're going to beat a top 10 team in the Orange Bowl as a 2-touchdown underdog. You're going to need to make plays like this. And Dubois with strong hands, as you mentioned, over top of Marco Wilson. There is no room there. The only thing that Virginia had going for him was that Wilson hadn't turned his head and looked for the football. But what a play by Dubois and Perkins. The effort in the back end to extend that play, second to none.
Here's Delaney to tie things up. Dubois, the vice-like grip on that football. It never moved. Tremendous strength.
Bryce Perkins has made a couple of throws from the pocket that has been under tremendous amounts of pressure. This time, there's pressure coming free right here with Carter. Now he's got to extend and get outside the pocket, hurdle a man. Zuniga had a chance, the linebacker has a chance, and he's just giving Dubois a chance. And Todd, that's an unbelievable play.
Yeah, I thought Zuniga had him dead to rights. They brought Zuniga on the inside, the great pass rusher. He showed that flexibility that he has in the bend. He gets off the block, and I thought he was going to nail Perkins. And Perkins shows the ability to get off the tackler, extend it, keep his eyes down the field, and make that throw. Obviously, the catch was the whole deal, but to be able to extend that play and give your receiver a chance, that's what makes Perkins special.
See the family of Bryce Perkins, Hassis Dubois, excellent hands, 0 drops on catchable passes all season long, according to our friends at PFF. That is simply amazing. What a grab. What a game here in Miami. 14 all. Tyree Cleveland will run it out of the end zone at the 10. And he stumbles out to the 21-yard line. Florida will go back to the offense. They started in a hurry. LaMichael Pirine ripped one off for 61.
Yeah, this offense has been all about throwing the football all season long. But in the first drive, they get Pirine established. And the missed tackles by Virginia defensively Both times on the touchdowns, it's been Devontae Cross. You give up this much cushion to a back as compact and strong as Pirine, but this is an underrated back, in my opinion, in the SEC, that because not only can he run it, but he's great out of the backfield with his hands.
4 receiving touchdowns on the season for Pirine. Coming in. Tied at 14. Here's Kyle Trask to throw. It's batted up in the air and knocked away. Noah Taylor on the deflection. Down to Molly.
Well, Steve, tight end Kyle Pitts is Florida's leading receiver, but the constant message to him on the sideline was push the run, push the run. So the Gators want to ride that momentum from the success in the run game.
It's funny, we were talking with Dan Mullen, and he said, you know, in that third game of the year, we finally realized we really can't run the ball very well. So why be stubborn? We've got 7 really good wide receivers and a quarterback that's really good throwing it. Let's just change, adjust, and throw the football.
Play to your strengths. Here's Trask throwing underneath and completing. Here's Tyree Cleveland. And that's why it's so ironic that they break it with Pirine early on in the first drive.
Well, let's be fair, okay? That was one run, and it was a defender that fell down and missed a tackle, right? So I don't think anybody's ready, and I don't think Dan Mullen's ready to say that, yeah, this offensive line has arrived, and we're pushing people off the ball, and we should be running it 60% of the time.
122nd in rushing in the country. 120 yards per game. Here's Trask again to throw. Short-armed it a bit. Richard Burney got the hit on Trask. Todd.
But I think they've also taken advantage of a really deep core of receivers. I can't think of any other school in the country that has 8 players with 20-plus catches, 7 wide receivers, and then also Kyle Pitts at the tight end position, who's basically just a bulked-up wide receiver.
Second and 10 now. Trask under center. Hands off to Pirine. Has some space. He's got a blocker in front of him in Hammond. And a big run for Michael Pirine for 27 yards.
I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a beef with Todd McShay. Says he's a bulked up wide receiver. Let's take a look, Todd.
Wide receivers can block too.
Look at him on the edge. He gets the block on Taylor. That's pretty good.
A heck of a block.
Pirine,
all right, I'm sorry.
Take that, McShay.
3 carries, 88 yards so far. About to have himself a night. Down to the 37. Here's Trask. Get a little tricky. It runs with it. The ball comes out. Charles Snowden.
The ruling on the field is that the ball carrier was down by rule. It's second down.
Did look like Trask was down, thanks to Charles Snowden.
Well, they're obviously going to take another look at this because he's on top of, it looks like handback.
Oh. Was
he down? Was that shoulder? Did that shoulder come down before the ball came out? I don't know.
And it's a clear recovery by Aaron Falmouy.
They stopped it. They stopped it. They're going to take another look at it.
The ruling on the field is that the ball carrier was down by rule. The previous play is under further review.
We're watching it with you now. We'll give you a final decision on the play when we come back. All time.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It's second down, Florida.
Boy,
we'll take another couple looks at that one.
It looked to me like that ball was out. His elbow came down on the knee of one of the defenders, and before his shoulder hit the ground, I thought that ball was out.
Look at this. Trask will run again. As if to say, I can control the ball. Gain of 9 right up the middle by Kyle Trask. Here's that last play.
Let's take it. Watch the elbow. His elbow comes down on handback's knee. So it's not that. It's the shoulder. It's this shoulder. If you keep rolling it a little bit,
I'm sure what they felt like was
ball's out before the shoulder hits the ground. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, the question is whether it's really indisputable, because if you say it looks like it, but I think the replay official felt like they just didn't have absolutely clear video to overturn the call on the field.
Look at the time that Trask has. Going to run for a third consecutive play and leans his shoulder in there. Very close to a first down. We'll call it 9. The voice you heard was that of Rogers Redding. Do I call you the now former NCAA coordinator of officials
I'm
or
still
not?
on the job for a little while longer.
When are you retiring? When's the official?
January 31.
Oh, okay. You got another month.
That's right.
Congratulations, Roger.
Thank you
great,
very much.
Great career. The game is better because of you. There is no question.
You're very kind. Thank you, Brian.
Great to have you in the booth with us tonight.
Thank you, Steve.
Rogers
I'm glad to be here.
Was honored pregame on the field. Here's Pirine for a few. Chris Moore made the stop. Gain of 4 on the play.
Yeah, it was funny talking with Dan Mullen about Kyle Trask. He says, he's a willing runner. He's not looking first to run, but they will run some option. They will run some quarterback power. And then you've seen on this drive, if nothing's open downfield, he will get 240 pounds coming downhill, and he's a handful.
You got to keep the defense honest, too.
Yeah.
Just keep that in the game plan. Florida had run 5 consecutive running plays. Now Trask throwing and throwing it out of bounds. Maybe some miscommunication. As you can see for the season, their rushing average 120.3 yards per game, and they are already over that tonight.
Yeah, 61-yard touchdown run. That helps the average. But an opportunity here for Virginia defensively, despite the fact they've given up some yards on this drive, to get a stop in the red zone. And to me, you got to worry about Pirine. He's been the guy in most situations. Now he's lined up in the slot.
3rd and 6. See if Trask looks that way. Got all sorts of time. Now looks to get out of there as the pocket breaks down. Throw all the way across the field. It is caught. Jacob Copeland forced out by Devontae Cross after the gain of 7 and got enough for the first down.
I just don't know about rushing 3 guys on Kyle Trask, because you give him all that time. Yeah, there's nowhere to throw downfield, but Virginia defensively can't stick with everybody for more than 4 or 5 seconds, and you see Copeland finds an open spot.
So it's a 1st and goal for Florida. Trask to throw for it, and it's batted down again. Again, it's Noah Taylor for the 3rd time already tonight. Takes a Kyle Trask pass out of the air.
And Brian, I know you mentioned it earlier, but Noah Taylor with his size at 6'5", Charles Snowden at 6'7", down here on the field, you can see how difficult it is for Trask to try to throw the ball over these edge defenders. It's been giving him trouble all night long.
It bothers quarterbacks. I can tell you from experience that the throwing lanes just get a little bit more cloudy with those arms in the way.
12th play of the drive. Trask wants to run for it. Lowers the shoulder. We get back to the line of scrimmage. Mandy Alonso made the stop. The junior from right here in Miami, Florida.
Well, I love the energy. You wonder in these bowl games, are the team's going to come out ready to play? Are they going to be energized? Is Florida going to take Virginia lightly? Is Virginia just going to get run out of the stadium? And these two teams, they are playing hard. This is a physical, hard-hitting game so far.
3rd down and goal from the 6. That's Tony in motion. Trask, look to Tony. Now goes the other side of the field, and it's knocked away. Devontae Cross got a hand on it, and it's 4th down.
Well, let's give Cross some love. He's had a couple of tough goes of it early in this game, giving up 2 touchdowns, but this time he's in great position on the shake route. That's the route that Copeland runs inside to make look like a slant, then comes back outside. Cross was in perfect position. Probably could have intercepted that ball rather than knocked it down.
And so that's a moral victory for Virginia. Got the chance to hold Florida to a field goal here. McPherson on for a 24-yard field goal attempt. Was 14 of 16 during the regular season. Kick on the way, and it is right down the middle. So a long drive stalls out by Florida, thanks to that Virginia defense, and a field goal. The Capital One Orange Bowl.
One Orange Bowl, Brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Cheez-It, official sponsor of the College Football Playoff. Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And the first ever Mazda CX-30. Feel alive.
Back at the Capital One Orange Bowl. 17-14 game. Two more great games coming up for you on New Year's Day. The granddaddy of them all. It's Oregon, Wisconsin, the Rose Bowl. Greasy's weeping over here to my right, presented by Northwestern Mutual. Then it's Georgia and Baylor and the Allstate Sugar Bowl. Both games right here on ESPN. Streaming on ESPN.
I mentioned Mario Cristobal, that class of coaches 2 years ago, that new head coaches. He was along with Dan Mullen in that class, and he has got it going in Oregon. I can't wait to watch them play in the Rose Bowl.
We got two of the top 3 running backs in the draft class coming up that we're going to be able to watch tomorrow as well. DeAndre Swift from Georgia, so explosive, averages over 6.5 yards per carry and 24 catches on the season. And Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he has been such a gamer for Wisconsin and really kind of gets overlooked a little bit. But I think both of those guys, along with J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State, who had a monster year and just declared for the NFL draft, could all be top 40 picks.
Dobbins was unbelievable the other night in the desert. All banged up, all guts, all heart. What a tremendous football game that was at the Fiesta Bowl. Here in Miami, Virginia trailing by 3. It's Talapapa. Maybe a yard. Marco Wilson came up to make the tackle.
Well, it's really similar how both of these quarterbacks in this game, Kyle Trask and Bryce Perkins, have so much on their shoulders. We talked about Trask and not having a running game despite Perine going off a little bit tonight. But for Perkins, he doesn't have much of a running back-based run game either. The run game really goes through him. He's got 745 yards on the season. So both of these quarterbacks really on an island.
That's Jana in motion. Here's Perkins. He'll throw to Joe Reed. They want to get the ball in Joe Reed's hands any way they can. Stewart makes the stop. Bryce Perkins carried the football 102 times more than anybody else on Virginia. He's the quarterback, and he ran 102 times more than anybody else.
Well, you see that in the last 10 years, right? That really puts it in perspective. We know what Lamar Jackson meant to that Louisville team, and Russell Wilson did it all, and is continuing to do it all, by the way.
We are told that Jonathan Grenard just limped off, one of the critical pieces on that Florida defense. 8.5 to go here in the second. 17-14 Florida. Chris Bogle is checked in, replacing Grenard. 3rd and 6. Here's Perkins. Pocket collapses. And he is dropped for the sack. Zuniga and Carter get there. And how Perkins even held on to that football is amazing.
Well, John Grenard goes off, and they bring in some young guys. Chris Bogle, a true freshman, Zuniga, and then they bring the linebacker, Ventrell Miller. So they get to the quarterback. This is a defense that, yes, John Grenard led the SEC in sacks with 8.5, but 18 players on this Gator defense have had a sack this season. That's how multiple Todd Grantham is, and gets everybody involved.
Griffin's back to punt. Swain back to Florida. Looking to come up with a return. It's a good punt. Back to the 25. Swain can't make anybody miss. Special teams tackle by Hayden Mitchell. Keeping that to a 1-yard return. Florida's getting the football back. Already with the lead, 17-14. Look at famed South Beach here in Miami. This is from see if you see McShay there anywhere. Do you see him? I see the people dancing.
He was in Prime 112. He was in Prime 112.
Shout out Miles, what up?
Yep.
The beat that can only be Miami. 17-14 Florida. 7:20 left here in the half. Trask to throw, put some nice air underneath it, and it's caught by Van Jefferson. Pick up a 36.
Great anticipation from Kyle Trask. Hard play action. Watch when he goes to throw this ball. He's looking at this defender right here. If he's not looking back, he's going to give it to Van Jefferson with room to run. That's a next level throw right there. That's anticipation, thrown under duress in the pocket, and that's why Kyle Trask has really gotten the favor of Dan Mullen.
Nice touch on that football. Here's Trask now. He'll hum it in there. Defender fell down. It's Kyle Pitts, and there is a flag down. It looks like it's coming back. There's probably a good reason the defender fell down.
Pass interference. Offense, number 84. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
And there's your reason. Kyle Pitts got caught.
We talked about how well Kyle Pitts was blocking in the run game. He got a little bit too physical on this one and just pushes cross. I don't know. I think Kyle Pitts, he's young. He's just a sophomore. I think he needs to make a decision as to what he's going to be. Is he going to be a wide receiver? Is he going to bulk up in the offseason and become a hybrid tight end? I think his value at the next level would be as a tight end.
Go to the ground game. Here's Malik Davis for Florida. His first carries for 3 yards. Zane Zandier makes the stop for Virginia.
And that's a big penalty because you get a big play to Jefferson on first down, and then you get another completion to Pitts, but the penalty puts you now at 2nd and 22 and an opportunity for Virginia to get off the field.
Quick screen out to Jefferson on the far side. Taken down, and Zandier had a heavy hit there after the gain of 5. He'll talk it over.
That's a great job by Nick Grant, the corner. He's one-on-one with Jefferson, and every defensive coordinator pounds into your head as a corner, don't lose leverage. Don't lose leverage. And he came up on the outside shoulder of Jefferson and made him go inside and allowed Zandier to come make the play.
Third and 17. Again, to go to the conservative screen route to Davis out of the backfield, spinning away, and he'll still be stopped well shy of the first down marker at the 36. It'll go as a gain of 9, and it's 4th down.
You know, we were talking with Dan Mullen yesterday, and he said he felt comfortable with Evan McPherson. You know, from the 35, he hit from the 45-yard line in practice. They're now at the 35-yard line, and it's 4th down and 8, and he's got a decision to make. He's going to leave the offense on the field. I'm a little surprised he doesn't give McPherson a chance here.
Yeah, McPherson hit from 63 at the end of practice this year. 4th down and 8 from the 35. Here's Trask throwing underneath, caught for the first down. Freddie Swain makes the grab. It's a gain of 11 on the play. Like soft coverage there, working on Nick Jackson.
I can see why the Florida faithful have fallen in love with Kyle Trask. Look at this hit he takes. He gets sandwiched. He knows he's going to get hit. He's got a big frame at 6'5", 240 pounds, but he throws an accurate ball to Swain. It had to be a foot in front. Otherwise, they don't convert that 4th down. It's a big-time play.
Emory Jones is now in there for the changeup. Trask will come out. Jones was successful the first time running it. A little less successful that time. It's a gain of 3 on the play. Bernie brought him down. And that's where Dan Mullen continues to coach. When Emory Jones is on the field, gives him an opportunity to talk, maybe settle down Kyle Trask.
Well, he doesn't need any settling down. He's playing great right now. But yeah, I think that what
they're stoic right now.
I think what Dan Mullen has done is he realized that Emory Jones will help his run game, and he didn't have that run game consistency, and Emory really gives it to him. And Emory Jones can throw the football too. He's got a dynamic arm.
2nd down and 7. Again, it's Jones for a couple of more. Eli Handback made the stop.
That was the biggest thing that surprised me at practice the other day watching Florida. The ball explodes off of Jones' hands. And yes, he's a great athlete, and he has a lot of work to do in terms of becoming consistent. And Coach Mullen talked about getting him in balance more consistently, but there's a lot of potential there in terms of what he can do as a passer.
This isn't the first time Dan Mullen's done this, right? He did it with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow in the national championship year. He told Chris Leak, listen, You don't run the ball. I need somebody to take some pressure off of you, and that's what Tim Tebow did.
Virginia calls their second timeout of the half.
Timeout, Virginia. 2:47 left to play in the half in a 3-point game. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, introducing the newest honorary member of the College Football Hall of Fame, the Goodyear Blimp. Goodyear, more driven. 2:47 before halftime. Florida with a 3-point lead and looking for more now. On a 3rd down and 4 at the 18-yard line of Virginia. Trask to throw. Virginia rushing 4. Underneath, completes to Van Jefferson. Down to the 10. It's a pickup of 8 and another first down.
Boy, really good pocket presence from Kyle Trask. He had a double snap count there, identified the blitz, saw the itching linebacker, changed the protection, stayed calm in the pocket, knew he was protected, and found the open receiver in Van Jefferson. That's really heady play by number 11.
Trask 5 of 5 on this drive for 70 yards. On the ground, a Pirine to his left. Wide open lane into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida. Third touchdown of the game for LaMichael Pirine. 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. Man, that looked easy.
Yeah, well, and that was on the ground, through the air. Kyle Trask was efficient. This Florida offense has had more balance in this game than any game I've seen all season long.
Here's McPherson. Perfect on the extra point. 24-14 Gators.
This offensive line, give them credit too. They've been maligned all season long. The left tackle, Stone Forsythe. Kyle Pitts again from the tight end position gets involved on the edge. Eli Hamback takes an inside rush, and Pirine with a great read. There's Pitts getting a block on the outside, and easy walk-in touchdown for Pirine.
You know, speaking of the offensive line, Dan Mullen told us that their scout team on defense, specifically on that defensive line and a linebacker, really made up a bunch of walk-ons. They're so thin that the starting offensive line never got great practice reps because you don't always go good on good, and that's really hurt the development of the offensive line, but they look terrific here tonight.
Yeah, John Hevesy is the offensive line coach. He's been with Dan Mullen through his career at Mississippi State, and they know how to coach offensive line. I think it's a matter of getting the talent and having these guys play together. Continuity is a big part of being an offensive line, and they have gotten better clearly during bowl practice.
They got some youngsters coming on that offensive line. So Ethan White goes 6'5", 370, a true freshman. Michael Tarquin, 6'5", 279. They got some heavy fellas on their way up through the system. Florida by 10. We'll see how Virginia can counter. Joe Reed begging for an opportunity. 5 yards deep in the end zone, and he'll take a knee. It was a rough night for the SEC opener. Our crew was on hand in Lexington, Kentucky, when Felipe Franks went down with a dislocated ankle on a gruesome play. But you could see how his teammates loved him. They rallied around him. And then 4 weeks ago, Franks announced he would explore his options to enter the NFL draft or play his final season elsewhere. But he wrote, "Once a Gator, always a Gator." And he was with them. He's been with them all along. He's with them at practice, and there he is on the sideline in his number 13.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how this team feels about Felipe Franks. You know, Felipe went and met with Coach Mullen, said, listen, I love being at Florida, and I want to be the starting quarterback at Florida. Dan Mullen, to his credit, couldn't guarantee him that he'd be the starter next year with Trask and Emory Jones coming back. And So this was the intent of the transfer portal when it was put in for situations like this. A guy like Franks has done everything right and been a great leader on this program. Give him an opportunity to go somewhere else and show what he can do and get healthy.
And Mullen said the door's always open too, that if he wanted to return, that possibility is still there. That would seem rather unlikely. 2nd down and 6. Here's Perkins in some trouble, able to escape. Back at his own 12, throwing on the run and completing. What a catch by Joe Reed for 12 yards.
Florida has made a bunch of plays on offense and made some touchdowns in this first half, but Virginia continues to come right back. We saw Dubois make a great play for a touchdown, and now Reed with a contested catch.
Florida is so close to getting to Perkins, either getting him on the ground or knocking the ball out, and they just can't do it. That time Perkins will take a shot up high, gain of 4 on the play, and the clock winds, 1:22 left.
You're right, it's very hard. It's one thing to rush him, Zuniga finds out here. It's another thing to get him on the ground. He's big, physical, 215 pounds, but he's really elusive as well.
Adam Schuler is down for Florida now. The defensive tackle from Longwood, Florida.
Going back to Perkins at the quarterback position, one thing you notice down here is that these receivers work for him. The scramble rules after the initial play is over, they know that anything is possible and that he's capable of extending plays. And these wide receivers never give up and are always working back to their quarterback.
Right, it fits their culture, right? It fits their the way that they play football under Bronco Mendenhall is effort. A lot of it is effort. And when you play with a quarterback like this that never gives up and extends plays and will put his body in harm's way to make a play, that trickles down throughout the entire football team. And it's no surprise that everything runs through Bryce Perkins.
So the accuracy, 12 of 14 so far tonight. Only have 1 timeout remaining. Here's the pressure. Perkins unloads, and Reed could not come up with that 50-50 ball. Working on Kaiir Elam.
Elam's going to be special. I mean, just watching him, he's a thick guy, he's physical, but he can flip his hips and turn and run, and he is so confident when that ball is in the air.
Boy, he had a lot of jersey on that one, Todd. He might be talented.
I said physical.
But he's young.
65 ticks left. Here's 3rd and 6. Pressure. Perkins able to get out of there momentarily, throwing on the run and throwing out of bounds, and it will be 4th down.
Well, you want to talk about effort. You know, certainly there's a lot of effort on Virginia's side, but Jonathan Grenard, he is just an energizer bunny. He never gives up, always coming after the quarterback. You have to be aware of him at all times. And watch this effort. Doesn't get him on the first time, gets up, chasing him down. That's why he's become the leader quickly. In 1 year, he transferred in from Louisville and quickly has become the unquestioned leader on this defense for Florida.
Here's Nash Griffin thinking about it, and now it's pretty close to some contact. Gets the punt away, takes a Virginia bounce, and that'll roll down to the 5-yard line. 45 seconds until halftime. Stay tuned for the Mazda halftime report. Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, and David Pollack, and a special performance by Gavin DeGraw. Now, you know that one member of our crew is particularly excited about that halftime musical performance.
Is that Todd? Oh, Molly.
A 14-year-old me is going to be screaming in the front row. You guys let me know where he is so I can find him for a selfie.
A 42-year-old me is going to be videotaping you the whole time.
Molly, you going to have any voice left for the second half?
I'll try.
And there is Molly, make your way to a monitor or just make your way towards Gavin. He's standing there down on the field area getting ready to come out for a little halftime concert.
Selfie.
Opportunities are there. On 1st down, Damian Pierce ripping one off out to the 31-yard line. Stopped by Chris Moore. but a 25-yard gain. And if Florida was just thinking about running out the half,
I guarantee you they were.
Maybe not anymore. They still have the one timeout remaining. Trask to throw. Virginia again only rushing 3. Trask will run up the middle and slide down short. But the clock will keep running, and now they do use the timeout.
Well, yeah, I guarantee you at the start of this drive, inside his own 10, Dan Mullen was, hey, run it. We'll go into the locker room up 10, feel great. Then you bust a big run. Now, with the leg of the kicker, Evan McPherson, that they have, who's made it from 63, as you mentioned, in practice, why not call your timeout, take a shot here, and see if you can get in his range?
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, what bowl games are coming up?
Well, Siri, it's funny you ask. It's a triple-header tomorrow at noon. Virginia Tech takes on Kentucky in the Belk Bowl. Then it's Navy, Kansas State, followed by Utah and Texas. All these games here on ESPN and streaming on the ESPN app. And it's the progression of Virginia. They were the Belk Bowl last year, and they shut out South Carolina 28-0. So it's sort of check marks for Virginia, right? They badly wanted to beat Virginia Tech. Finally did so after losing 15 consecutive years. And got to the ACC championship game. That didn't go as they would have liked. And, of course, here in a big bowl, a New Year's Six bowl game. 23 seconds left in the half. And now Florida out of timeouts, up by 10. Little extra pressure from Virginia that time. Get it out in the hands of Kadarius Toney. And that's not going to do much. It's actually a loss, and the clock will wind.
That's a great tackle from Noah Taylor. We've mentioned his name quite a bit in this first half, but Kadarius Toney is the most explosive player on Florida's offense, and to get him down in the open field is no small feat.
Entertaining first half. We went up and down the field a little bit early on. Florida is enjoying a 24-14 lead. Cavaliers will get the football to start the second half. For all the talk of Florida's passing game, they dazzled us with the run game in that first half. Down to Molly McGrath with Coach Mullen.
Coach, we're seeing a balanced offensive attack. How are you finding success in the running game?
Well, I think, and looking at us, they've had a bunch of time to prepare for us, so they have a conscious effort to stop our throw game. We're going to take what they give us, so if they're going to let us run the ball, we're going to run the ball on them.
What's Virginia doing to challenge you most?
Well, I think, a lot of their stuff, they got some length on defense. And they're dropping guys, showing a lot of different coverage looks on the back end, trying to keep it in front of them to slow down the passing game. We've hit a couple of shots downfield. We've had some guys miss tackles, and then, we got to get their quarterback on the ground, but I don't know anybody's had a lot of success with that this year.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Steve.
That length on defense, Molly. Batting 3 of 4, Kyle Trask passes to the ground, but Trask was excellent. End of the first half of the Capital One Orange Bowl. 24-14, Florida. Stay tuned for the Mazda halftime report. Reese, Desmond, and David coming up right after these messages. Smoke is cleared from the field as we welcome you back to the Capital One Orange Bowl. Very entertaining first half. Florida leading Virginia 24-14. Well, for Brian Greasy, I'm Steve Levy. Todd McShay's on the field, along with a rather giddy Molly McGrath. We'll get to that shortly. So that's a great thing about bowls. You have all these weeks of preparation leading up to these games, and Virginia's heard that Florida can't run the football. So what does Florida do? They run the football. Take a look at tonight's Capital One rewarding performance screens.
Yeah, it's been the balance of Florida's offense. Like I said in the first half, this is as balanced as I've seen them all season long. They had 189 yards rushing on the ground, 102 of them for the Michael Pirine. And then that's allowed them to throw the football on the outside, 153 yards passing. That 1-2 punch has kept Virginia off balance. The Gators had 2 drives, scoring drives, of 13 plays or more in the first half. The only way you do that is having balance.
But the odds of Florida having more rushing yards than passing yards at this point would have been off the charts, and that's exactly the case. And that's why we love sports, and especially college football. Feels like a big possession for Virginia to start the second half. See if Joe Reed gives it a try. Why not? From 3 yards deep in the end zone, here's Reed. He'll barely get back to the 20-yard line. Down to Molly McGrath.
Well, Virginia's Bronco Mendenhall gave his team a passionate speech at halftime telling them you are 30 minutes away from UVA history. No other team for the Cavaliers has won 10 games since 1989, so finish and history is yours. And I saw that passion as Cavaliers players took the field screaming at each other saying, we can win this game, Steve.
Hey, they're right there, Grease. I mean, they are right here in this game, but this does feel like an important drive to open up the third quarter.
It's a much different game at halftime than when they played against Clemson, when they were out of the game at half. So just give yourself a chance in the second half. That's what Bronco Mendenhall wanted.
Here's Perkins. Try to step up and get out of trouble. On the run. And he'll just throw it away to avoid the loss.
When you hear Bronco Mendenhall talk like that, 30 minutes away from history, it gives me goosebumps, really. It does. Again, that's what I love about college football and about the opportunity that Virginia has in the second half. As you see John Grenard, who was a little bit gimpy in the first half, he has struggled throughout his career. He missed an entire season at Louisville with a dislocated wrist. This season he's missed 2.5 games with a high ankle sprain, and he comes up gimpy, and that's not a good sign for Florida.
We were told he has been cleared for a 6th year, but he doesn't want anything to do with that 6th year.
They already call him Grandpa.
He's 22, and they call him Gramps. Chris Bogle will get another opportunity while Grenard is attended to. 2nd down and 10 now. Pass is caught. It's Jana. Gets 5 on the play. And to put him in a 3rd and 5 spot here. Jalen Hurts and Bryce Perkins, as you might expect, the only players in college football with 3,000 passing yards, 700 plus rushing yards. The last player to do that in the ACC, one Lamar Jackson did it in 2017. Third and 5 now. Joe Reed able to shake a defender and get the first down. Walked on Marco Wilson for 7, and great to see Grenard checking back in.
Yeah, that was a big first down there for Virginia. You get the ball after halftime. You need to get that first down. Marco Wilson was there in position to make the stop, but the power of Joe Reed at 215 pounds breaks the tackle.
Here's Perkins, takes a big shot from behind, and it was Grenard who got to him, and therefore the pass nowhere near Joe Reed. But that's the power of Jonathan Grenard. Wow. In his first year at Florida, they say he's the key to the locker room and took a leadership role in the first quarter of the first game of the season.
I love this guy. I love his mentality. I love the way he plays the game. He may not be as fast or might not be as flexible as Zuniga, and he may not get drafted as high, but you know what? He plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. He loves watching Terrell Suggs. He says, this guy's not fast just like me, but he plays hard every single down.
2nd down and 10 out of the 32.
I'm Bryce Haskins. I'm going over my left tackle, Bobby Haskins, saying, listen, man, you got to do more than that.
Here's Perkins, a little pump and go. He'll look to run, and he is tripped up nicely. Ventrell Miller with an excellent unassisted tackle. That's a gain of 3.
We were talking with Todd Grantham about how they're going to attack the offensive line and the protection schemes for Virginia. He's one of the best in college football at attacking schemes, exactly knowing where the protection is going and isolating one-on-one blocks with his 2 best players, which are Grenard and Zuniga.
Good look into the eyes of Grenard there. 3rd and 7. Perkins again loosely carrying that football. He'll be taken down by Diabate after picking up 2 on the play. And again, that ball is out there hanging loose.
And that time Grantham decided to play coverage and rush 4. So you rush 4, you drop 7. There's nowhere for Bryce Perkins to go with this football. And in the ACC, he'll make that play, right? He'll get out, escape, and beat a linebacker to the first down marker, but too much speed from Florida on defense.
And the offense is all of a sudden dried up for Virginia, punting for the third consecutive series. 4th down and 5. It's Nash Griffin. He'll get it away. Fair catch is called for to the 23-yard line.
You know, we talked in the first half about how Virginia defensively was aggravating some of the throwing lanes of Kyle Trask, and it was Noah Taylor. Look at him here. He's a converted wide receiver from high school, and at 6'5" and an athlete to jump up in the air, he constricts these passing lanes. Those are 2 run-pass options where Kyle Trask read correctly, pulled the ball and thought he had an open window to throw the slant, but Noah Taylor, just hiding behind defensive linemen, reaches up and gets hands on the ball.
1st down and 10 for Trask out of the 25. On the ground, it's Pirine. He'll pick up 4 on the play. Noah Taylor was so big in that critical game against Virginia Tech. He had the 2 interceptions of Hendon Hooker, the only 2 picks Hooker threw all season. And of course, you know, that was the game. Everything for Virginia leads up to the Tech game, and they finally beat them. And that was really a critical step in this development along the way. 2nd and 6. It's Pirine again. Not that time. That Virginia defensive line run up to greet him. Give him a yard on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
It'll be interesting to watch the adjustments. The defensive coordinator, Nick Howell, for Virginia. He's got some pieces. Eli Hanback, you see there, he's the most consistent player on this Virginia defense, but they gave up some yards. I think he came in at halftime and said, listen, our scheme is working. We just need to get guys on the ground. We cannot afford to miss tackles. That's what killed them in the first half.
Hal said we got to keep the play in front of us, steal a possession. They got 1 and scored on a short field. Probably need another turnover. Here's Van Jefferson making people miss. 1st down yardage for Florida. Gain of 7.
Well, to your point, they gave up 3 passes of 50-plus yards against Clemson in that ACC championship game. And when we talked to Howell, the defensive coordinator, he said, we can't do that. We've got to keep everything in front of us and let them just chip away and move down the field and earn it.
Again, the weakness in the Virginia defense is that secondary.
So thin. I mean, they lost, yes, Bryce Hall, but at the beginning of the season and first day of camp, they lost Darius Bratton, the other starting corner. Then they lose Brenton Nelson, who was their nickel. They lost 4 starters in the secondary.
Tough to overcome that. Trask can't get out of that one. Charles Snowden throws him down. The sack for Snowden. A cost of 8 yards.
We talked a lot about Taylor. This is his partner in crime, Charles Snowden, who's even taller than Taylor at 6'7" and unaccounted for off the edge. And we talked about that. Adjustments. What are you going to do differently? They've set some things up in the first half, and now they decide to bring a little bit of pressure that gets home.
46th sack of the season for Virginia. They already had a new team record. Chris Long is not part of that record anymore. On the ground. Stopped by Richard Burney. No gain on the play. Here comes 3rd down. Set it up for Pirine. And Virginia saw that coming from a mile away. Joey Blunt, first man there for Virginia, gain of 3.
You know, what Virginia lacks in talent, they make up for a lot of times in effort. And that's all that was from Joey Blunt, recognizing the screen pass on 3rd and long and hustling to the football.
And this is significant. They forced the Gators to punt for the first time tonight. Tommy Townsend is back to punt for Florida. It's Billy Kemp back deep for Virginia. And the fair catch called for by Billy Kemp. 8:23 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Virginia trailing by 10. Coach Mullen not having a nice night so far.
Stream your favorite sports, stories, and series with ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, and Hulu. Get all 3 for just $12.99 a month.
Aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear. From end zone to end zone, Goodyear, more driven. Remains 24-14, and Virginia football from the 29. Here's Bryce Perkins throwing to his right. Shows you some speed, the acceleration. A pickup of 2 on the play. Bronco Mendenhall. You think about where this program has come in his 4 years. Started out 2-10, 6-7, 8-5, 9-4. They're breaking rocks on a regular basis now.
Well, and this was the pinnacle of emotion for Bronco Mendenhall. After the Virginia Tech game, as you mentioned, 15 years they've been waiting for that victory, and they asked him to break the rock. Very emotional time for him.
Perkins in all sorts of trouble. Adam Schuler, who was banged up earlier, got there along with Darryl Slayton. They cost him 6 yards on the play. It seems like now, Grease, Florida defense has figured out Mendenhall and Virginia's offense.
You know, I just to finish on Bronco Mendenhall, I think he is a unique individual in college football. He is a very thoughtful individual. He has framed success at Virginia in a little bit of a different light. The game does not captivate him. He sees it as a platform to teach about life to these young student athletes, and it's refreshing to talk to him and to watch him change the culture at University of Virginia.
That's the part of AND. That's the philosophy there. On the ground, here's Joe Reed. They hand it to him. And he won't get anywhere close to that first down marker. He's out to the 35. Gain of 6.
And he chose the University of Virginia intentionally for that reason, that he knew that he could establish a culture that wasn't just about football and winning and talent, but it was about developing young men. And obviously, University of Virginia and their history academically is second to none. And when you combine the athletics on top of that and the culture of alignment with Jim Ryan, the president, and investing in the athletic department has been on point. And so I think it was the perfect situation for Bronco Mendenhall.
And is there another coach in the country reading Louis L'Amour westerns, short stories? Probably not. Punt in the air. And the fair catch is called for by Freddie Swain. It's a 46-yard punt. Bronco Mendenhall continues to advance through with his team. Now they're looking for a little more. Capital One Orange Bowl.
The Capital One Orange Bowl, brought to you by the Nachos Party Pack from Taco Bell, AT&T, and Northwestern Mutual. Spend your life living.
Every bowl has its set of perks, its advantages. One of the advantages, of course, here in Miami, you get to go to Joe's Stone Crabs.
Oh, yeah, got to.
Down to Molly McGrath.
Well, Steve, after that last Florida drive, Dan Mullen was pacing in anger, and he let his O-line have it, telling them, your fundamentals are terrible. This is day one stuff. This is unacceptable. It doesn't even know that you... Looks like you don't even know what you're doing. And their O-line coach, John Hevesy, was also very angry. He threw down his headset in frustration.
Haven't we been spending these 2.5 quarters praising the offensive line for Florida? Here's Kyle Pitts taking on some people. A big smash on him for Nick Jackson.
Well, you come out and you run the football in the first half for over 180 yards, and then the first drive of the second half, you come out flat and you go backwards. You have some penalties, and you're a coach, you raise a level of expectation, of course.
Want to keep your foot on the pedal. Second down and 5 from the 25. Here's Trask to throw. And it is dropped. Tyree Cleveland had it, and then he did. Third down. And that sort of falls in line with what Mullen was doing, right? Maybe this Florida team has lost some of their focus since coming out of halftime.
Dan Mullen has been around long enough to know when you come out of halftime and you're a little lethargic.
Feeling good about yourselves.
Yeah, you feel like, okay, we'll just come out here, roll the ball out, and we'll go home with a victory. That's not how it happens against a team like Virginia that's going to play 60 minutes.
3rd and 5. Trask throwing. That ball will go incomplete. Nick Jackson on the coverage. Charles Snowden. Jackson's played very well in place of the injured Jordan Mack. And Virginia's going to get the football back here.
Well, they've done what they needed to do defensively. Nick Howell has made the adjustments on the defensive end. And in back-to-back series in the 3rd quarter here, they have stopped Florida and forced a punt.
First 3 and out by the Gators in the game. And the second punt is coming. Tommy Townsend got it away from the 15. See if Billy Kemp can do anything with it. Runs up and gets to about the 43. It's just a 29-yard point. Punt. Virginia will have excellent field position, trailing by 10 here in the 3rd quarter. Hey, football fans, get a look behind the scenes in college football playoff with our exclusive series Inside the CFP. Episode 1 is streaming now on ESPN+. And Saturday, Wild Card Weekend, starts with our simulcast on ESPN and ABC. Josh Allen and the Bills take on Deshaun Watson and the Texans. Coverage kicks off NFL Countdown at 3 Eastern. It's been 24 years since the Bills won a playoff game. And they beat the Miami Dolphins the wild card round. Shot down the sideline for Brissett, but he was clearly out of bounds had he even caught the ball. Running with Chester Kimbrough, the coverage for Florida.
I like that. Take a shot downfield. Kimbrough, a true freshman. He's playing more tonight because C.J. Henderson's not playing in this game. And get one of your receivers on just a simple go route down the field after you got that great field position on the short punt. Just got to keep the ball in bounds if you're Bryce Perkins.
2nd down and 10. From the 47. Four to snap it. Here's Perkins firing a strike to Jana. He's got the 1st down yardage. Florida's trying to rip that ball out with Bernie.
Todd, I love what I'm seeing from Bryce Perkins right now. He changed the play at the line of scrimmage, knew exactly what he wanted, called a zone beater, found it, and then drilled it in for the completion.
He's in complete control. And, his offensive line has done a good job considering how fast and how vicious this pass rush can be for Florida. One of the best pass rushes in the country, but he's trusting it when he's getting his protection.
He's in complete control. He's using a dummy snap count, just identifying the defense, and then he's calling the play. You don't see him look to the sideline. This is all him.
Nearly gave it to Talapapa. Throws down the field for Cowley, and he couldn't come up with it, and neither could Marco Wilson. Could have been a big play either way on that pass from Bryce Perkins.
Oh my goodness, Bryce Perkins got to be kicking himself. He had the absolute perfect audible, identified the one-on-one with Cowley and Wilson was beaten by 5 yards. And if Perkins just lays the ball out into the end zone, it would have been a touchdown.
Virginia going fast here now to the line. 2nd down and 10. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up nicely. Perkins another shot. It's Dubois, and he overthrew him. So as in control and in command as Bryce Perkins has been, he's off the mark on a couple of plays that would have led to touchdowns.
Wow, they brought a corner blitz off the edge, and they identified Dubois one-on-one with the safety, Brad Stewart. There comes the blitz by Wilson. It's a double move. Dubois beats him by 5 yards, and on back-to-back plays, Bryce Perkins misses.
See Dubois' frustration, with the hands on his helmet as the ball sailed over his head. Here's 3rd down and 10. Blitz picked up momentarily, and then Perkins going to be picked up and thrown down as the football comes out. Kemp fell on the football, but Grenard got to Perkins for the sack and a loss of 8.
All right, mark this drive down. And the outcome of this game is going to be huge. Here's Grenard here. He's just going to come underneath. He's so fast up the field that Rankensmeyer, the right tackle, he's looking at the outside, confused. And that's what we're talking about. Grantham dialing up pressures for his best pass rushers. But this drive for Virginia, mark it down. If they don't end up winning this game, this was a huge missed opportunity.
Griffin got it away. Swain will signal for the fair catch. This Florida defense has held 5 different opponents this season to no offensive touchdowns. They had 3 shutouts this season, Florida's defense. And when the Gators needed it the most, Florida's defense was right there for a big stop.
Welcome back to Capital One Orange Bowl. If you're going to beat Florida, you have to make these kinds of plays. Look at Dubois on the right, 2 yards open. Cowley on the left had beaten Marco Wilson. Neither one of those plays ended up in a touchdown for Bryce Perkins. You work on those plays all bowl practice, and they're open. You got to hit them.
There's Trask. He hits his man, Kyle Pitts, across the middle, just like that, out to the 30-yard line. Trask is now 19 of 32. He's hit 9 different receivers. Todd was talking about the vast array of weapons that Florida has. All those receivers with 20-plus catches. Texas Tech is the only team that has more players with 20 or more catches in the FBS. So spreading it around, back to the run game. Here's Pirine. He'll grind out 3 yards on the play as we hit the final 2.5 minutes of quarter number 3.
Virginia has been in a lot of close games this year. They're battle tested. You know, all week they've been telling themselves, just get this game to the 4th quarter and anything can happen.
2nd down and 7 now. Trask gonna run it right up the middle. Just a ton of green in front of him. Zandier finally brought him down, but Trask had 15. It's as if Virginia does not respect Trask's running game.
That's right, there's Zandier. He's not looking at Trask, he's looking at the receiver, and give credit to Dan Mullen calling that play. 4 or 5 times a game, just give him an opportunity to go right up the middle.
Keep the defense honest, at least got to pay some attention to him. As we said earlier, Trask is a willing participant in the run game. Flea flicker from Pirine. Here's Trask to throw, hits Van Jefferson. He'll make a few moves, and a little razzle-dazzle by the Gators to the 32 of Virginia, gain of 19 on the play.
And nice job by Michael Pirine, too. Watch him pick up the blitz after he hits this back, just gives enough time. That's a aware football player. We've seen him run the ball for touchdowns, catch the ball out of the backfield, and when he adds in pass pro, that's an NFL back.
Here's Trask taking a shot and should have been intercepted. Nick Grant knows it. That's the 3rd opportunity that Grant has had to pick off a pass.
Kyle Trask got real lucky. That Jefferson was open behind Grant by like 2 yards. And if this ball's thrown in the end zone, it would have been. Look at Jefferson, look how far down the field he is. And back-to-back drives, these quarterbacks have missed badly on receivers that are wide open for touchdowns.
And it wasn't the case in the first half. 65 seconds left. Grant does have the 1 interception in the game, but could easily have 2 more. More trickeration. Here's Kadarius Toney now with the football. And he'll lean forward for a yard or 2.
You know, as a 2-touchdown underdog, you can't turn the ball over. Of course, every coach is going to tell you that. But it almost feels like 2 turnovers that we just had on back-to-back possession for Virginia. Failing to connect for a touchdown on those throws, and then that interception that went through Grant's hands. You got to make those plays if you're going to pull off an upset like this.
No question.
From the 32 of Virginia. 3rd down and 9. Trask, little soft toss looking for Trayvon Grimes and could not come up with it. And it's going to be 4th down from an interesting position on the field.
And in this similar position in the first half, Dan Mullen decided to go for it on 4th down, but he's going to try to get the points here with his kicker, Evan McPherson, in a big leg. I think if Kyle Trask was on point right now, Mullen would make the same decision he made in the first half, but he's seen some erratic throws, so that's why he's not going for it.
Going to call this a 49-yard field goal attempt. He has hit from 50 this season. McPherson on the way. And it is good. That looked like it was very close to going over the upright. And that's a big-time field goal for the sophomore McPherson.
He's only missed 2 all season. He's been rock solid, and you could tell talking with Dan Mullen, he had confidence in his kicker. It didn't matter where. So that's something that he has seen all season long.
Hit a 60-yarder in high school, and he's like, I got this. I laugh at 49. And it's a 13-point Florida lead. Take a look at our All-State Mayhem moment. We'll do that after the kick. .16 ticks left in the quarter. And it does feel like a swing series back and forth. Virginia, the short field, the open looks, unable to convert. And then Florida comes through with a 49-yard field goal the other way to get some points. They need a Joe Reed kick return. Wow. And he'll take a knee. Our All-State Mayhem moment. 20 years ago in the Orange Bowl, Tom Brady refused to lose his last game for Michigan, leading them back from 14 down. Started with this touchdown to David Terrell. And then it was Brady finding Sean Thompson in overtime. Michigan beat Alabama 35-34. Alabama's kicker Ryan Flugner missed an extra point in overtime on a thrilling game.
Well, how does he get drafted that late after that game?
Across the middle, it's Cowley. And Perkins was right on time this time. Tanner Cowley for 53 yards, and don't go anywhere. Virginia's back in business.
There he is right here, just coming up off of hard play action, and it's you're bite up with the linebacker, and this time Bryce Perkins does not miss Cowley for a big gainer.
And that winds up being the final play of the third quarter. Cowley along with Joe Reed, 2 players at the heart of what Bronco Mendenhall has been trying to do in his 4 years at Virginia. 2 of the keys, 2 of the cornerstones. It's a 13-point game. Virginia's knocking on the door as we head to the fourth quarter. With Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, Molly McGrath, I'm Steve Levy from the Capital One Orange Bowl in Miami, South Florida here tonight, 27-14. Had an offensive show in the first half. The defense has taken over here in the second half as we head to the fourth quarter. Virginia's in business. First down and 10 at the Florida 23. Here's Perkins trying to run for it. He's yet to break a big run here tonight. That's his longest run of the night, and that's 6 yards.
This is it. This is the game right here. I mean, you get the start of the fourth quarter. You take this ball in and make this a 6-point game if you're Bronco Mendenhall. Put all the pressure back on Kyle Trask in Florida. They're supposed to blow you out of this game, and if you're hanging around at the end, but you got to take it in right now and score.
Good protection. Perkins throws, completes to Joe Reed. He's got the first down yardage, working on Ventrell Miller. A 6-yard gain.
They don't have to be flashy plays, right? We know last time they're down, they missed a couple of big hitters, potential touchdowns down the field. Could be a little bit more methodical here on this drive.
Miller is down after forcing Reed out of bounds. While he's attended to, we'll step out. back at the Capital One Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida and Virginia. And while we were in commercial break, really for the first time, you heard the Virginia fans making a lot of noise. Part of this 65,000 on hand here tonight at Hard Rock Stadium. And the fourth side, as they call that Virginia bench, they were fired up, and here we go. First down and 10. At the 12 of Florida for Bryce Perkins, trailing by 13. That's Cowley in motion. Perkins wants to run and does so. And bangs down to the 6-yard line, running behind Talapapa. It's a gain of 6.
We mentioned this earlier in the game that when they get down inside the 10-yard line, it's been Perkins and Talapapa. 23 rushing touchdowns this season between those two. And really, Talapapa and Cowley have become lead blockers in this situation for a physical Bryce Perkins.
That's Robert Anae, the offensive coordinator. Billy Kemp and Dejon Brissett check in. Cowley on the far side.
All-out pressure from Florida. No safety on the field. 2nd
and 5. That's Cowley in motion. It's picked up. Perkins throwing and airmailing it out of bounds over Brissett's head.
And that's a miss from Bryce Perkins. You know, I think he saw it was all-out pressure. He decided to throw the fade outside. He had an out route on the inside of that he could have taken, but decided to throw it. But he's thrown too many balls out of bounds. Now, you can't obviously complete those balls throwing them out of bounds. You got the tackle coming out in a weird formation here.
Creasy said it moments ago. This could be your ball game here. They can get a first down. Here's Perkins for Reed. Has a lane and has a touchdown. Joe Reed into the end zone for Virginia.
Bronco Mendenhall said he's going to let it all hang out. He had some tricks up his sleeve when he needed it most. He pulled one out. That play was perfectly executed. That's Robert Anae, the offensive coordinator, and a great block by Ryan Swoboda, the offensive tackle, at the last minute to give a crease to Joe Reed.
Brian Delaney on for a rather important extra point. Puts it through out of the hold of Nash Griffin. What a drive and what a play. Joe Reed, who is their explosive playmaker, get the football into his hands.
So Reed's going to come out here. Watch Swoboda here, the offensive tackle. At the very last minute, he's going to come off. This is a bead right here. He's going to make the play, but at the last minute, Swoboda's going to come off and make just enough of a lane to get Joe Reed into the end zone. That was well executed by an offensive tackle. I can't tell you how hard it is to take a big man like that. Swoboda, 6'10", leaves, to put him out there in space, and for him to make that athletic play, that's awesome.
And Brian, talking to Reed the other day, he said he studies Anquan Bolden. That's the guy he grew up loving. And he's built like him, and he plays a lot like him, too. You watch the patience there to wait for the block, and that was an amazing block. But the patience to wait and then the power to finish. Bolden, built like a running back, was so great at breaking tackles, and we've seen the same thing from Reed throughout his career.
Swoboda is a remarkable story. Back in 2017, he collapsed during July conditioning. His core temp was 109 degrees, Grease.
Wow.
104 is considered heat stroke. He wound up going to the Corey Stringer Institute and got himself better and got him back on the field. Corey Stringer is the Vikings Pro Bowler who died of heat stroke back in 2001. But Ron Swoboda, what a story. And that kick goes out of bounds. And that's a terrible mistake by Virginia coming off the big play.
Free kick out of bounds for the kicking team, number 26. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Just when you have things in your favor, trailing by 6, The kickoff out of bounds.
Well, just think about the confidence that last touchdown put into that Virginia sideline. I mean, the fans were into the game before that third down, and now this team, they're right where they wanted to be. Just an opportunity to pull the upset of Virginia history.
2 minutes into the fourth quarter. Here's Trask. Out for Pirine. And that Virginia defense will swarm at the 40. It's a gain of 5 on the play.
Now what a great opportunity for Kyle Trask. In his first year as a starter, he's seen a lot. He's been through some battles. He's been in fourth quarter games. And he wanted this job. He wanted to be the starter at Florida. This second half has not gone his way. He's been a little bit rattled, but now an opportunity to get back on track.
Here's Pirine squirting through the hole. Trask told us yesterday he wants another shot at LSU. That's not going to happen until next season. But here he is with a ball game on the line. But again, Bronco Mendenhall, that's all he wanted. Can we get to the fourth quarter and be in the football game? And here they are. Third down and 2. This would be something. On the ground. Pirine not going to get there. On 3rd and 2, couldn't get there. Looked like Aaron Falmouy was the first man in for that Virginia defense.
Dan Mullen's thinking about it right here. On his own side of the field in the fourth quarter, up 6. Going for it on 4th down. I think this is a mistake. If it were me, punt the ball down. You got one of the best defenses in the country.
4th and 1, we'll see.
Maybe try to draw him off.
Got all 3 timeouts. They're already 1 for 1 on 4th down conversions today. They're going to snap it. Option. Pirine will get there. And it was close. Nick Grant bagging the turf. He knew he had the opportunity. And that'll move the chains.
Wow. They're going to convert. This was risky. And it didn't look like a natural pitch. Watch, he pitches with both hands to the outside just to secure it. But if Grant comes up and makes that play an instant faster, Virginia would have the ball at the plus 45-yard line.
It tells you how much respect Dan Mullen has for this Virginia football team tonight.
Here's Trask. Zips one across the middle. Wide open is Tyree Cleveland for 31. Just like that in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, time and time again, we see coaches convert a big 4th down and then take a shot. Why not? This, you mentioned earlier in the game, Leaves, the weakness of this Virginia defense is the secondary due to so many injuries, and Cleveland was running wide open.
And here's Emory Jones back in at quarterback. 3rd time we have seen Jones. This time he hands it to someone else. It's Pirine. Gashes the left side. Pirine, pylon. They check it. Touchdown, Florida. Fourth touchdown of the game for LaMichael Pirine. He's only the 3rd player in Orange Bowl history to have 4 touchdowns in a game.
Well, it certainly looked like he was in. Yeah, he kept both feet in bounds. The question is his right foot. I still see green there.
Oh,
there
might have been a little white.
Yeah, see a little bit of white. What an effort, though. I mean, even if he's down at the 2.5-yard line, what an effort from LaMichael Pirine. He's had a whale of a game.
Yeah, he's been the story for Florida.
Yeah, that's a good look right there.
He still might get that 4th touchdown at some point. Only 2 other players in Orange Bowl history have done it. Tavon Austin in 2012 and Johnny Rodgers in 1973.
What an answer here from Florida. I mean, all the momentum was going with Virginia. They have the trick play. They get the touchdown. And Dan Mullen, give him credit for going for it on 4th down. Kyle Trask with a nice throw over the middle. And then P. Ryan. You can see the confidence that Dan Mullen has in his team. And he's building for the future. There's no question about it. And with LaMichael P. Ryan, a back like that, and Kyle Trask, why not?
P. Ryan came in with touchdown receptions in 2 of the previous 3 games. Let's see.
After further review, the ball carrier's right foot stepped out of bounds with the ball at the 1-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal from the 1-yard line.
So take the 6 off the field, off the scoreboard for now.
And if it's me, I'm coming right back to P. Ryan. I mean, he's been the most dependable and toughest out on this Florida offense all night. I'd give him 3 shots if need be.
5'11", 218-pound senior from Mobile, Alabama. Instead, it's Trask running into the end zone for the touchdown for Florida.
They go for 2 here. It's the right decision. Make this a 14-point game. What a drive.
You see Dan Mullen's out on the field. Still lots of time left. 9.5 to play. Both teams their full complement of timeouts. Here's Trask. Coming all the way across the field, and it's knocked away. Noah Taylor dropping into coverage to break up the 2-point conversion.
You're going to build for the future with Dan Mullen. Back-to-back 10-win seasons. You're going to take some risks. You're going to show confidence in your players. Go for it on 4th down in your end of the field, and then finish with your first-year starting quarterback who's waited 7 years for this opportunity.
The Capital One Orange Bowl, brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Chick-fil-A. It's the little things that make game day worth celebrating. The all-new Ford Explorer, built Ford proud. And Gatorade, for the athletes who give everything. Nothing beats Gatorade.
Coming up after the game, make sure you stay tuned for Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt. We'll join Scott for a little bit of post-game coverage from this one, plus the worst beats of the year.
Oh,
Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt.
Avert your eyes.
One I'd like to miss.
I think Stanford Steve has the night off. How's that possible? Touchback, they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. 9:33 to play here in the 4th, and it's a 12-point lead for Florida. Back and forth we go.
I'm a little surprised Joe Reed hasn't had more opportunities to return kickoffs. He's the most dynamic kickoff returner in the country, an All-American. And just because the ball lands 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone, I would let him take it out.
He said if it's beyond 3 yards deep, they don't want me to run it out, but he gets some greedy. But Virginia needs a special teams play. Reed has 5 career kick return touchdowns. 5.
Virginia has opted to change the position of the ball for 1st down.
You don't want to bring in Rogers for that? Rogers, we got this one. We'll handle that.
They're allowed to do that. That's not a problem.
Make sure you get that S on the end of Rogers, too. Don't cheat him on that. Here's Perkins to throw. And complete to Dubois. Out to the 30-yard line. What does Virginia have left? Hey, they've left it on the field. They've given everything they had. And you talked about Bronco Mendenhall being sort of different and unique around college football.
Yep.
He's the first head coach I've ever spoken to that sort of said, you know what, there are moral victories. And if we play great and lose, kind of could be okay with that. And I think a lot of other coaches feel that way, but they would never tell you that. But Coach Mendenhall said exactly that. But they're not done yet. Here's Dubois out beyond midfield to the 45 of Florida. Pickup of 24.
Wow, and that's a great opportunity there. One-on-one, Brad Stewart on Dubois. And you get man-to-man coverage, and if you're Todd Grantham, you're up 12 points, 2 scores. Play a little bit more conservatively on the back end rather than playing man-to-man with a safety on one of the best receivers for Virginia. Take a shot.
Oh. Take a flag.
Our quarterback says take a shot, right?
Offside. Defense number 58 unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
See, a lot of times defensive ends will try to get back on sides, and if they do that, sometimes the official will let that play go. So if I was a defensive coach, I would tell, listen, if you're offsides, run to the quarterback, because then they're going to stop the play as unabated.
And you don't get the famed free play, which all quarterbacks love. So it's a 1st and 5 now at the 41 of Florida. Here's Perkins. It's Dubois again. Down to the 30-yard line. Pickup of 11 on that play. Assis Dubois has come a long way as a freshman in the final play of the spring game in 2017. He took an unsportsmanlike penalty, and Coach Mendenhall went wild. But ever since then, the two have been good. Dubois has done a lot of growing and maturing. He's obviously a talented guy. Here's Perkins on the run. Somebody's helmet popped off. It's Cowley on the receiving end. This hard-hitting game continues. It's a pickup of 4. Luke Ankrum lost his helmet on the play. We'll have to see how it came off. If he'll have to hit the sideline and come out for a play.
Yeah, he got hit by Cowley,
It just popped off.
I got a lot of respect for what Virginia is doing on the offensive side. This is a top 10 defense in college football, and they haven't really been able to run the ball consistently with any running back game. It's been all Perkins, misdirection, making plays.
2nd down and 6. Here's Perkins to the 20. 1st down yardage. It's all Dubois now. 4th consecutive catch for Dubois.
They've identified Florida playing zone, and they're emptying the backfield and running inside hook routes. And just finding, Robert and I says, look, when I flood the zone, when that zone dropper goes underneath to the flat, just hit the hook behind it.
1st and 10. Haven't totally abandoned the run game. Here's Talapapa. Dragging people. Very close to a 1st down. Was running with Brad Stewart trying to wrap him up. It's a gain of 8. The clock will wind. 6:20 left here. And now Stewart is down. 2nd time he's been shaken up tonight. There's Stewart making the tackle, injured on the play. Back at the Capital One Orange Bowl, watch 2 in blue. Brad Stewart, quality tackle, getting up and then going down. You be the judge. See Bronco Mendenhall's reaction.
I was 10 yards away. He's a good actor. He had me fooled.
You'd buy a ticket for that show, huh? So it slows the roll of Virginia for now. 2nd down and 3 at the 13 of the Gators. Here's Perkins. Nothing doing there. Everybody's in trouble. And the Gators defense swarms, led by David Reese.
Now, coming into this game, Florida said they wanted to force the issue for Bryce Perkins. They wanted to make him give the ball. That's exactly what David Reese does there. He's waiting on Perkins to pull it so that he can make the tackle.
3rd down and 7. Back to the 17 now. Trailing by 12. Less than 5.5 to go. Perkins lofts one. 50-50 ball is picked off. Kaiir Elam comes up with the interception on Assis Dubois, the receiver. And Elam wins that battle. And it's a critical turnover. First turnover of the game by Virginia.
Bryce Perkins made a lot of good reads. He thought this was going to be a blitz, but it wasn't a blitz. It was going to be coverage. They're going to be double on the outside with a safety over the top, and this ball had no chance of being completed. At that point, you got Kaiir Elam underneath. You got a safety over top. Great design there from Todd Grantham, making it look like a blitz, but it being coverage. He fooled Bryce Perkins into throwing that one up.
Todd talked about him earlier. Elam does look special.
He's got so much confidence. As a true freshman, to get your head turned around and go after that ball, you can see it.
Backed up from their own 2. Florida looks to throw out of it with Van Jefferson. Plenty of breathing room down the sideline. Van Jefferson to be wrestled out of bounds. Joey Blunt got him, but not until Jefferson ripped off 48.
Jefferson has been their most consistent and best receiver all season long, and you got to get him the ball more in this football game. He hasn't touched it enough. Just throw it out there on a quick hitch, and Nick Grant, the corner, comes up and misses the tackle, and it's a big gainer.
Dad Sean, an NFL wide receiver for 13 years. Now the wide receivers coach with the New York Jets. Emory Jones is in the game now. Trask out. We'll see how Florida manages the final 4.5 minutes. Here's Jones right up the middle. Took a big shot as he got down to the first down marker. It's a gain of 9 on the play. So they call it 2nd and 1. And Trask will come back in.
I think Dan Mullen's not going to be in a hurry. Obviously up 12. Now we're ticking under 4 minutes in this game. You get in the 4-minute offense, or maybe he doesn't get the 4-minute offense. Maybe he wants to continue throwing the football, but you got LaMichael Pirine who's busted off a bunch of runs in this game. If it were me, I'd hand it to him.
It is Pirine, and he's got the first down. I beg your pardon, that's Damian Pierce.
And Virginia's going to take their first time out of the second half.
We'll take the timeout as well. 3:35 left. Florida trying to put this away. After the game, stay tuned for the Ford postgame and the Capital One Orange Bowl MVP and trophy presentation. Priest has filled out his ballot already, I know that.
Am I in agreement with you?
Yep, we are in agreement.
Okay.
Still a lot of time left to be played.
I don't feel comfortable agreeing with you. But.
You want to change it? 3.5 to go. Here's Pierce. He'll lose yards on the play, and a timeout is called. Take this opportunity to tell you about the ESPN family and really the entire college football community who is still mourning the passing last week of reporter Ed Ashoff. Ed would have been watching closely tonight, either working member of the press or as a big fan. He was a proud Florida alum, He was in the band when they won the BCS championship in 2006. Ed died of pneumonia on Christmas Eve. It was his 34th birthday. And Ed and his fiancee Katie were to be married in New Orleans this April. I did not know Ed personally, but I know a lot of people at ESPN who did. They speak glowingly of him. A bright light. I had the opportunity to handle a couple of reports, throw to him on location from the SportsCenter desk, and he was an excellent colleague, did a great job covering college football, and he is to be missed by everyone. Here's Freddie Swain for Florida. See where they spot him. Pretty close to a first down, be 3rd and short, and the clock will wind. Virginia has 1 timeout left.
You know, we talk a lot, we meet a lot of people in college football, traveling around every week, going to different campuses, coaches, athletic administration people, reporters, media, and there's all kinds of different personalities. And it's always refreshing when you hear of, I didn't know Ed either, but you hear of the legacy and what he's remembered for, and as being a good person, right? And the way you affect other people and you influence their life and encourage them. And that's a great legacy to leave. A life too short, way too short, but by all accounts, a life well lived.
Had so much in front of him. Tough times. It's a good reminder as we get ready to close out the decade and keep your loved ones close. Hug them as often as you can. As we get set to bring in 2020. We talk about these two coaches who have really done a wonderful job.
Oh my gosh,
you know,
yeah.
Mullen's done it quicker in his 2 years with much more to work with. And Mendenhall's done an unbelievable job in his 4 years, but two programs. You know, Florida's getting back and Virginia's going to go someplace they've never been.
You know, Virginia is doing something that really is unprecedented in their program's history. Florida obviously has been here before, and they know the blueprint, and they've got the name brand, and certainly now they have the coach and the talent. So different situations, but both of them have done an unbelievable job in getting their programs back on the national stage. And for Dan Mullen, you know, he's gonna have Kyle Trask come back next year. He's going to have Emory Jones. Felipe Franks is going to leave, but he's going to have 4 senior receivers that are going to graduate. So Van Jefferson and Hammond and Cleveland and Freddie Swain will all graduate. But I was talking with him at practice the other day. He is really excited about some of the younger receivers coming up in the program. They've had an unbelievable recruiting class. And defensively, with Todd Grantham, you know they're always going to be in the top 25 on defense. So things certainly pointing in a positive direction for Florida going forward from this season.
Take a look at our AT&T best performance now.
We've had a lot of great performances tonight from Florida. Michael P. Ryan right from the jump with the 61-yard touchdown to get the run game going. Then they get him going in the passing game. So hard to bring down outside on the perimeter. He adds another touchdown, 3 on the night. Unfortunately, he won't be coming back next year. He's a senior, but you know, the last step leaves for Florida is the Georgia game, right? They've lost to Georgia the last 2 years, and they have been in every single game. They have competed at the highest level, and next year, the next step for this program is to beat Georgia.
The cocktail party.
Yep.
Gonna get a field goal attempt here by Florida. Be a 42-yard attempt. And this will be important to some people with 2:36 left. Here's McPherson. On the way and blasts it through. Evan McPherson is good. And it's a 15-point Florida lead now. And the hits And the bowls just keep on coming. New Year's Day, the granddaddy of them all, Oregon and Wisconsin. That really should be something from the most picturesque setting in all of sports. The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Then it's Georgia and Baylor, 5 versus 7 in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Both games are right here on ESPN and streaming on the ESPN app. Todd McShay, his top quarterbacks headed to the league. Todd?
Yeah, Justin Herbert for Oregon and Jake Fromm. I'm interested, Grease, in watching Herbert going up against his defense of Wisconsin, Jim Leonard. You know he's going to throw so many NFL schemes and looks at him. I want to see how Herbert responds.
Yeah, and it's, you know, the thing that people forget with Oregon, they're coached by an old offensive line coach, Mario Cristobal, and they want to establish the run so they can take pressure off of Herbert as long as they can establish that run game early in that game.
Pearson will put it in the air. See if we get a Joe Reed run back. Everybody's been waiting for it all night.
Thought about it.
Thought about it, and he will take a knee instead. Reed, we talked about sort of the heartbeat along with Tanner Cowley and what Bronco Mendenhall is trying to build in his 4 years. He talked about some of the seniors he'll miss. Something interesting, and we alluded to this at the start of the night, how Mendenhall said he's heard the whispers that Florida's becoming Virginia's becoming a football school. And he heard it, as he said, in a negative way, the whispers, as if being a football school would take away from their academics and diminish their great academic reputation. Well, I don't think that will happen. The highlight is that people are talking about Virginia as a football school. And that's really a credit to Mendenhall.
Well, and he's trying to do something that really is difficult to do. His culture of A-N-D, that you can be great academically, but you can also be great on the field and compete for championships. And that's what he did this year, competed for championships, and he's got to do it again and again.
Here's Perkins still firing, and that's a catch. Out to the 39. Terrell Jana.
The challenge for Bronco Mendenhall will be now, how does he continue to do it without a player like Bryce Perkins, who has had an unbelievable career, and you got to give so much credit to him for what he has done in perseverance.
A little shake and bake there, loads up and fires downfield, and it's Jana. What a catch, what a throw and catch to Terrell Jana.
That'll bring a smile to Mom and Dad's face.
How about the shake right there?
I mean, he has been through so much. The neck injury, doctors telling him that he would never play the game again. It was not safe enough. He had to transfer from Arizona State, go to junior college, got another opportunity here at Virginia, and he's laid everything on the line. He brought the first victory against Virginia Tech in 15 years, and he will go down in history as one of the best at UVA.
55. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
And Perkins has won before at Chandler High School out in Arizona. He helped bring them their first state championship in 65 years. He was injured. He broke his neck 2 places in a non-contact drill. I mean, it was a total fluke kind of injury that could have had him never play football again. But he rehabbed wearing a brace, and he's out here doing this in the Orange Bowl. He scampers down the sideline.
Boy, and we watched a unbelievable competitor a couple of nights ago in Jalen Hurts. Wasn't going to win the game against LSU, but towards the end of the game, you saw a similar effort that you're seeing from Bryce Perkins. Finish your career the right way here at UVA. Go in and score a touchdown, young man.
70 seconds left. Here's Perkins surveying, throwing, incomplete. Jana, the intended target. Kimbrough had the coverage there. You mentioned what's next for Virginia, Grease. How do you replace a guy like Bryce Perkins? We know Brennan Armstrong is there, but they've got to recruit Ira Armstead, who will be coming to campus as soon as they get back from Florida here, and he is that dual threat kind of guy. And they think he's somewhat similar skill set, but it'll take a while to become the next Bryce Perkins.
See, he just needs 2 yards to break the all-time record.
Look out, Sean Moore. And there it is, the throwback to the lineman, Bobby Haskins, into the end zone for a touchdown. That's how you smash a record. To the big offensive lineman, Bobby Haskins. 6'7", 285 out of Fairfield, Connecticut. And all of a sudden, it's a 9-point game with 55 seconds left.
Kick the extra point and give yourself an opportunity on an onside kick. You never know. Going back to take a look at whether this was a forward pass or a backwards pass, and the reason that's important is because you had men downfield. If we can look at the wider copy, if you have guys downfield, that needs to be behind the line of scrimmage. Go back and take a look.
Also, 70 is not an eligible receiver, so you can't throw a forward pass to 70 in any event, even if it's behind the line.
There you go. It looked like.
So if this is a forward pass, that's going to be an illegal forward pass.
Yep. Yep.
And we believe that will be the call coming. Take away a nice moment for Bobby Haskins, and that'll be a shame.
If it had been backward, it had been okay.
Right.
But he can't throw a forward pass to an ineligible receiver, even if it's behind the line, doesn't matter what else.
Right. See where he's lined up here. He's lined up at the tackle position. I don't know. It's hard to tell from that angle whether that was forward or backward, but which lends itself, Rogers, to is there indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field? Maybe from here we have a better look. See, he's lined up at left tackle. Yeah, it has to be clear that it's backwards, right, Rogers?
Yeah. Yeah,
I think that's forward.
That's forward.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's ineligible for 2 reasons. He got an ineligible number,
right,
and he's not on the end of the line. Even if he's on the end of the line with that number, he's not eligible.
Oh, nice moment for Haskins. Taken away, right?
You'd like to see those big guys hit pay dirt. That's a highlight you have forever.
Not only that, it gave him a chance. You know, just give him a chance to get an onside kick and be only down 8.
Think about the left tackle position. Ryan Swoboda had the big block earlier. Spring and Reed for a score. Then Bobby Haskins thought he had a touchdown catch. They're still talking about it here with 55 seconds left.
After further review, it's been determined that the quarterback threw a forward pass to an ineligible. This is illegal touching of a forward pass by the offense, number 70. Will be penalized 5 yards from the previous spot. It's 3rd and 10 from the 14.
Did I mention Scott Van Pelt is coming up with the worst bad beats of the year? We were very close to approaching that territory, and a sigh of relief by some.
Still 2 more downs here for Virginia to
temporarily.
Get this ball. Yeah.
If it's me, Grease, I go right back to Haskins. I make him eligible.
Well, we've had a lot of trick plays here in the red zone for Virginia. We had a formation where Ryan Swoboda came outside and made a block that Joe Reed got in the end zone. Then we got a throwback to the tackle. What's left in the tank for Bronco Mendenhall?
Now, you know what? Give me more bowl games. Don't give me less. Give me more bowl games.
Mr. Bahamas Bowl. Certainly has been enough time to think about it over there on the sideline and come up with something.
Oh, really? Got someplace to be. Mr. Miami. 3rd and 10 now. from the 14. That's Cowley in motion.
Yeah, Dan Mullen's going to take a timeout. Think about it some more.
Prior to the snap, Florida calls their second timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
Final broadcast for our college football crew. We have crisscrossed the country this year. Got as far west as Los Angeles, as north as Oregon, south here in Florida. Made it to Maryland for our Eastern trip. Saw all the Power 5 conferences. And got a good feel for the country in college football. And we hope you at home on the majority of those Saturdays learned a little, laughed a little from our outstanding crew. And from all of us to all of you, wish you a happy new year and a great 2020 coming up.
It's been a ton of fun. We work with, I know every crew says the same thing, but
we mean it.
We really mean it. We work with the best people in the business, from our ops folks to our camera folks to people that drive the trucks to put up the sky cam and the people that work in the truck, man. We love you guys. You're the best.
They do the hard work. We've got the easy work. Just put a suit and tie on us, Grease. We're powdered. Out to Reed, makes a couple moves. Here's Joe Reed down to the 1 yard line. He's got a first down. That will stop the clock. Virginia is out of timeouts.
And you got to get up and get this thing snapped.
Here's Perkins. He'll throw it into the turf and stop the clock. That Joe Reed, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see him back healthy. He had that hip pointer, missed the championship game. So it's nice to see him get out there and do his thing, despite the fact he hasn't had a huge impact in special teams like he normally does. He has had an impact on offense. That's his 7th catch of this game and has a touchdown.
PK Kier is checked in now for the first time. He's behind Perkins. That's Cowley in motion. Fake it to Kier. Perkins wants to throw. Pass was deflected. It's caught for the touchdown. Hassis Dubois for the score. 38 seconds left. They get the touchdown. That makes it a 9-point game.
I was asking the question, what did they have left in the tank? And they had a beautiful play here. I love the design of this play from Robert Anai. And that is not an easy thing to do, to have enough inventory of plays, unique plays in the red area that you can draw from. That's a sign of a good coach.
Here's Delaney to make it a 1-score game. 38 seconds left. Bryce Perkins, a career high, 4 touchdown passes tonight.
And here it is. Here's Cowley, the tight end. He's going to come over in motion, and then he's going to run in the flat. And then Dubois is going to come from the top all the way to the other side of the field. And you see him raise his hand, and he's wide open. And great job by Bryce Perkins of finding him.
Tom Barbary tells me, Grease, that in this era where no one has successful onside kicks, Virginia's 2 for 2 this season in successful onside kicks.
Don't go anywhere.
90, and a shout out to the Virginia squad for not having any double numbers. We appreciate that. As you see, number 98 is checked into the game with no nameplate. That is A.J. Mejia. So they have A.J. Mejia out there. Also with Brian Delaney. And it's going to be Mejia, and we get whistles.
Mullen calling
prior to the kick, Florida calls their 3rd and final timeout of the game.
Get to see the strategy there and how Virginia was going to approach that.
That's smart by Dan Mullen. Just like, you know, when you're trying to figure out a formation on a running play, now he's seen not only the formation, but he waited long enough to actually see the kick. typically in that situation, you're going to put some of your bigger players up front, in front of your receiver. On that side, it was Kyle Pitts, who he wants, number 84, to catch the ball, and he puts a couple of linebackers and tight ends in front of him to block, to give him that opportunity to catch the ball.
How many versions of an onside kick do you have? I know you have like 2 or 3 two-point conversion plays. How many different onside kicks do you have?
Yeah, you got a couple.
Let's see if they change it up. Will it be Delaney?
You can see,
or Mejia?
See Pitts back there on the right.
It's Mejia again. Just punches it, travels the necessary distance. And it was Freddie Swain, part of the good hands team for Florida, to fall on the football. Virginia is out of timeouts with 38 seconds left.
Boy, and you talk about, how does coaching affect the little things, and just calling those timeouts. Dan Mullet did it twice there in the last 2 minutes. One on defense so that he could identify what Virginia was going to do, and then that certainly affected the outcome of that onside kick.
We've seen great coaching in this game, specifically.
Yeah. And give credit to Virginia. They played their hearts out. They missed some opportunities, certainly, and but at the end of the day, they came here and everybody counted them out. They competed till the end, and they can go home with their heads held high.
And those two widely respected head coaches come together. 36-28. Florida wins a hard-fought victory. Welcome to the Ford postgame show. Down to the field. Here's Molly McGrath, Coach Mullen.
Thank you, Steve. Coach, Virginia battled until the final seconds. What did it take to win this game?
Well, we had to keep battling too. They're an excellent team. You saw that all year. You saw they kept battling, kept fighting. They got a hell of a quarterback. Made a ton of plays. I thought we got a little sloppy and lackadaisical there at times in the second half. But I'll be honest with you, I'm proud of our guys. We found a way to finish. I told everybody it was a lot harder to go from 4 wins to 10. Then it was harder to go from 10 to 11 than it is from 4 to 10 that we did last year. So 11-win season, second straight, New Year's Six Bowl victory. Program's headed in a great direction. I'm proud of our guys, proud of how we battled and fought all year, all the adversity we faced. Great win for our guys. And that was a heck of a team we played. You knew they were going to play hard the entire game.
LaMichael Pirine made such an impact on this game. How meaningful is it for you to see a senior like him go out with a performance like that?
Well, I know he's one of the best backs in the country and came back his senior year and might not, if you just purely look at stats and rushing yards, you might just kind of get a misread on it. But the reality of he's one of the best backs in the country, and he showed it out here tonight, running, catching, all around great running back. Proud of him, proud of all these seniors. Bought in. Every one of the seniors came out here, played in their final game, played in this bowl game, and they get to go out Capital One Orange Bowl champions.
You told me you came to Florida to win a championship. You're Orange Bowl champs. What's next, Coach?
Well, hey, we got to get back. We're going to enjoy this for a day or two. Heck of a year. The 2019 Gator football team was really special. To come out, going to finish as a top 10 team, maybe even a top 5 team. Orange Bowl champions. That's really special. And the 2020 team will be born in about 2 weeks. And if we want to go from 11 to 12, it's a lot harder to go from 11 to 12 than it is to go from 10 to 11.
Well, congrats on the win, Coach.
Thank you. Go Gators.
Steve, back to you.
All right, Molly, and right back down to the field. The story of the game, the star of the game, LaMichael Pirine is standing by with Todd McShay.
Well, Michael, it's been a struggle to run the football all year long, but then you end not only the season but your career with a career high in rushing and have the production you had. How does that feel knowing you finish your career this way?
First, I just want to thank God, man. Without him, nothing is possible. My offensive line, I want to thank them. I want to thank Coach Mullen, just thank everybody. We prepared well for this game.
You've been through a lot throughout your career. You've had some struggles, but you finished with 10 wins and now 11 wins. How does it feel knowing that you're leaving this program in such better shape than it was a few years ago?
Just knowing my sophomore year when it was 4-7, we came back having 2 double-digit win seasons, and just great, man. We're getting the Gator standard back.
Congratulations, Mike. You did a great job tonight. Yep.
All right, Todd, thank you. It was a special performance by Pirine and a hard-fought victory. One score, Florida beats Virginia. Stay tuned for the Capital One Orange Bowl MVP trophy presentation, but first, here's Scott Van Pelt.
The Ford postgame is brought to you by the Ford F-150, built Ford tough.
Back at the Capital One Orange Bowl, time for the Capital One Orange Bowl trophy presentation, right down to the field on the big stage where she belongs, and Molly McGrath.
Welcome, everyone, to the 2019 Capital One Orange Bowl trophy presentation. Congratulations to both teams on an exciting fourth quarter game, and thank you to all the fans who came out today to make this an incredible atmosphere for both of these teams. Right now, here's Orange Bowl Committee President and Chair Jose Romano to present the Capital One Orange Bowl trophy to Florida's head coach, Dan Mullen.
Well, thank you, Molly. And on behalf of the entire Orange Bowl Committee, I want to congratulate both of these teams on an incredibly hard-fought game tonight. I want to congratulate the University of Virginia on their first appearance in our Orange Bowl game. But now it is my pleasure to present to you, Coach Dan Mullen, the 2019 Capital One Orange Bowl trophy.
That's a little heavy, Coach. Grab an orange. Hey, Coach, we joked before the game that this felt like a home game for the Florida Gators. What kind of impact did your fans make in this one? How much did that mean to you guys?
Well, obviously, playing here at home in the state of Florida, we are the University of Florida as our state, and you look at all the fans, the Gator Nation that supported us. Especially, I want to give a huge shout out to the Gator Band. all year long supporting the team, the Gator Nation everywhere, our student body, best fans in the country. And I want to thank the Gator Nation for everything showing up and giving us that home field advantage today.
Turning over a program is tough. You have to lean on guys like your veterans, your seniors. What have guys like LaMichael Pirine and the veterans on your team meant to you?
You know what? They're so special. A little over 2 years ago, I got hired to be the head coach here at the University of Florida, and I told all those guys in the first meeting, hey, you know what? I mean, we're going to earn each other's trust. And I believe in all of you. And you came here to Florida to live up to the Gator standard. And if you look at that now, these guys bought in. You know, the seniors, the upperclassmen came in. They bought into everything we're doing. They bought into what the Gator standard is. You look at all our former players that are back, understand what it means to be a Gator and to win and finish with a win in a second straight New Year's Six bowl game. Second straight top 10 finish. They've restored what the Gator standard's back. And I know they're building for what we want to build, which is a championship program that's consistently competing for both SEC and national championships. And I certainly hope all these underclassmen understand they got to live up to that underclassmen so we can get back here next January for the national championship game.
Well, LaMichael Pirine is our MVP of this game. He lived up to that Gator standard, especially in tonight's game. And here to present the MVP trophy to LaMichael Pirine is Capital One General Counsel Matt Cooper.
On behalf of Capital One, I would like to congratulate the University of Virginia and the University of Florida on an outstanding season and a great game. And I would also like to announce the most valuable player for the 2019 Capital One Orange Bowl, LaMichael Pirine. Congratulations.
LaMichael, what does it mean to end your career with Florida with a performance like the one that you had tonight?
It's just a blessing, man. I want to thank God for everything He put me through. I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my dad. I just want to thank everybody in the Gator Nation, man. It just feels good. And another thing, we won the state.
Well, congratulations to our 2019 Capital One Orange Bowl champions, the Florida Gators. Steve, back to you.
Okay, and speaking of the state, Miami has been good, specifically to Florida. The Gators improved to 4-0 in Orange Bowls all time. Back in 2009, Florida won the BCS championship game right here. And as Coach Mullen noted, the college football championship game will be played next year at this stadium, a year from the New Orleans game. Back with Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter, or post-game after this.
The Ford postgame is brought to you by the Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.